I just come in there and look for knockoffs, and that's not the case. I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, I'm here. Who wants to fight with me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter beat me.
Demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all the belts, all of the titles.
Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. It feels so good to be back. What's going on this Friday, y'all? I just want to talk a little boxing tonight. And I've been, sitting back, man. I said, I gotta allow myself sometimes, man, in order for me to survive in the sport, I gotta allow myself to be a fan for a second, man. I gotta remind myself as to why I really got into doing content and stuff like that. So what enables me to stand my ground and do my thing in my lane is the fact that I allow myself to be a fan. I realize that a lot of people out here, they turn into something else when it comes to this boxing. And for me, boxing is a way to like keep myself occupied, be entertained, encourage the youth, and as men, we always like to have a good little competitive thing going on where we go back and forth and we argue and we fuss and we fight and we express ourselves. So for me, boxing is like an escape, man, from everyday life. But I try to keep a pulse on boxing. That's why I call it the pulse of boxing. Because at any given time you can ask me what's going on and I can tell you. You can ask me about something or whatever, a boxer or whoever, and I can pretty much tell you in a roundabout way what's going on. And I try to maintain an even kill. Why? Because I know that one punch, one of these boxers can actually be out of there. Shout out Cookie Monster. Sounding good. Bodywork. I appreciate that, Cookie Monster. But thank you, because sometimes you need that. Making sure that people got your sound check right. Cookie Monster, a day one. You know what I'm saying? But I've been paying attention to the sport and a lot of things that's going on with the sport, man. And at the end of the day, I would love the sport to go on. I know that it's just like the cycle of life, man. It's the cycle of boxing where you have a boxer come in and they're green, then they develop, then they get into their prime. Some people don't make it into their prime. They get stopped, they get knocked out, hard times fall upon them, and they out. And then the life cycle goes on. Or they rise and become champion, cash cows, ahead of the game, the face of boxing, whatever you want to name it as. They'll rise to that occasion. Yep. Riding with you till the wheels fall off. I feel you. But we'll have these different stages in a boxer's career that go on. And you can have your favorites. You can have the people that you like. You can have the people that, you tend to take to, or the ones that catch your eye, or something about them that that you follow. But overall, as a hardcore should really be focused on the longevity of the sport, and the health and wellness of the sport. So here recently, just like this is always happening, somebody new is always entering the game. They tend to make a big splash. If you look at Triller, if you look at The Zone, if you look at Black Prime, if you look at a lot of these little companies who go on to, like The Zone, they went on to become a big company. But if you look in the beginning, they always come out with a big splash where they have a whole lot of cash to where it's like, oh, they make themselves attractive. And here recently, what we have is a guy who's coming in, injecting some what you want to call it, the lifeblood of a company, the money, injecting a little bit of currency in the game, and everybody's like, oh, like, and a lot of people are looking to him almost in an idol type state, almost in a state to where they just looking at like anything. They're gonna co-sign and defend and go after anything that's going on. And I don't know if it's my background from being in the military. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's my upbringing. I don't even know if it's the fact that I like good war movies. Ain't been one in a while. Soldier stories. Not sure what it is. I know when I was younger, I was looking at a lot of Greek mythology. And one thing came up. And I was reminded of. Is that Trojan horse. And yeah, it might have been a story or an allegory to depict something that may or may not have happened. I just know that it's a part of the history, and I know that there's nothing new under the sun, and we've seen strategies and things like that. And there's people who play chess who know that it's not what you do in the first or second step. You're looking at 6 or 7 steps down the road. You're looking for your next move to be your best move. You walk circumspectly, looking all around you. And you're trying to dominate the chessboard. But in this sport, what I'm actually seeing is that it's something that could be deemed as a Trojan horse. Now, where does the Trojan horse come from? And this is just the education part of the show. This is just the part that's going to feed your brain, because remember, I always say this is them fruits and veggies, not them Reggies. This is fact-based content. This is something that I want you to, whether you like boxing or not, this is something I want you to walk away with saying, that brother might have had a point. That brother made my wheels turn. He made my wheels spin. He actually made me start using my critical thinking skills, because we're in an era where everybody does it for you. They tell you what to think, how to feel, how you should agree, why you're wrong for not agreeing. They gaslight you. They want all of the support. And when you're got the pom-poms on and you're waving them and you're saying, yeah, they all like, oh man, that's my man, and I'm with you when I'm down. But the minute you say, hold on now, let's put it on scale. Let's balance it. Let's weigh it. Not just look at the height and the width. Let's look at the length, the depth, the width, the capacity, the buoyancy. Let's use our critical thinking skills to where we look at everything that way, that when we say less, we really mean more. So we don't have to say as much, but the little bit of things that we do say are so impactful that they start getting them brain neurons firing. Let's do something like that. Let's just get back to where people are not carving out everything using the cookie cutter process, just like everything where they give you an A, B, a C, and a D selection. Let's go back to them hard quizzes. Them essay styles, to where it ain't a multiple choice, where it ain't a 25 or a 50 or a 35 or 75 or 100%. It ain't them kind of options. It's the option of where you got to fill in the blank with some words. And somebody got to sit down and examine what you said and understand that what you said, if it's the right answer or it's not, if you have a concept of what you're talking about or not. But we're in a concept, we're in a day and time, we're in a time where everybody does everything for you, where they tell you how you should think, how you should react, how you should behave. I ain't trying to do none of that. All I'm trying to do is spark something in your mind to actually start using your brain. And right now, what we are in the story of a Trojan horse right now. And it's gonna sound like a lot of hate, but you gotta understand that there's nothing new under the sun, and that those who do not know their history are doomed to repeat it. And I'm gonna get into this before I get into the main thing. D Block, the mighty D Block. I'm gonna get into that, but first I gotta go into the new curriculum, because we always talk about gaslighting, but right now in this era, in this season, just like I was telling y'all about bread and circuses, I'm going to tell y'all about this Trojan horse. And you can say what you want, but you can do your research. But all I'm asking is that you actually hear me out. It's a Trojan horse in boxing right now. What do you mean, Mike? If you listen, I'm going to tell you, right? The story of the Trojan horse is told in the Odyssey, in book 2 of the Aeneid, a Latin epic poem by Virgil. How befitting. It's Virgil Ortiz weekend. Mike. The term Trojan horse has also come to be used metaphorically to describe any trick or stratagem that allows an enemy to enter a protected place. For example, a malicious computer program that tricks users into running it is also called a Trojan horse. Yeah, that's what they call it. In computing, a Trojan horse, or simply Trojan, is a malware that misleads users of its true intent by disguising itself as a standard program. Oh man, we're going to raise the standard. We're going to uplift the bar. We're going to make boxing great again. That sounds almost like something like somebody else said, make boxing great again. If you've been paying attention, boxing is always great, because on any given night, it can go down. The term is derived from the ancient Greek story of the deceptive Trojan horse that led to the fall of the city of Troy. Wow. And why do you say that? I was saying, listen, man, I ain't gonna stay in this vein too long, but I gotta put them stakes in the ground. I gotta be the beacon. I gotta be the measuring stick. When you look at a ruler, all them little lines on a ruler, it means something, not just the big ones. Not just the almost big ones, not just the half ones, not just the little ones. Every tick on that measuring stick means something. It's mathematics. And I think a lot of people are missing out on a modern day mathematics. Why? Because people are always telling you what to think, how to think, forcing you to abandon your critical thinking skills, allowing you to learn with that rote memory, which is memorization and regurgitation. So as long as you can sit back and hear and listen to people talk, you record that. This resonates with your mind on that. They shock you with some music or something to get up in your broker, and now that's stuck. And now all you do is go around regurgitating and repeating the same thing over and over again. That's where somebody like Bodywork come in and say, listen, man, you got to realize, man, where you live, you got to realize the sport that you love, and you got to look at the longevity of it. Now, I'm not saying that everything that's going on right now is bad, because I see the good. I was thoroughly entertained this past weekend, but I look back and I'm like, dang, homie, it was all good just a week ago. But what actually happened now? So before the fight, everybody was kissing the ring and on bended knee and doing all these things, and I was still doing me. I was like, hold on, man, wait, let's look at this. Like, yeah, this is a great card, like in the aspect of things. Yeah, it's great. Like, yeah, you can't miss with the card, but let's not mistake it for what it truly is, because what it truly is not, it wasn't anything that we really wanted. But the byproduct of it actually showed us some things. And I said that the precursor to this Trojan horse was the fact that we just seen where this entity came in and it got a lot of boxers paid, which is cool. So as a fan, you like, man, this is what we want these guys to do, because if they was not boxing, if they were not putting on gloves and shorts and training and hitting heavy bags, they'll be jumping through people's windows, punching people in the face, or worse. Especially if that's all they've been doing all their life, because we already know the environment that they come with and the statistics, and they've already made them out of them. That's why we applaud them. We applaud them from actually getting a check. But then some of us who have done business, have been in the corporate space, have tangled in different aspects of business, understand that, listen, man, you can't outsource the work. Like, if everybody came down at the plant you work in, or the call center you work in, or whatever facility or whatever aspect of life or job that you work in, if they started outsourcing the work, do you know you're going to be down at the unemployment line? That's what some of us was saying. It's like, okay, cool. It's somebody that want to invest, because everybody understand the aspect of an angel investor, somebody that's like pretty much seen but not heard, gonna put the bread up so I can make some things happen that wouldn't ordinarily happen, and then I'm going to be great. But that's not happening. What's happening is, and what people are saying in hindsight, post-fight, is that, hey, there are rumblings that the fight lost $10 million. I don't care how much money you got to burn and play or whatever, but in the landscape of business and how people with money look at everything, is you do not want to develop a habit of being able to say that you're in business and then walk away with people being able to look at books and numbers and say that you lost money. You can do that in the beginning, because every business tend to invest way more before you see any dividends or any returns. That's why I'm gonna keep spitting out this truth, and I'm not gonna change until this is learned. So initially, yeah, it's gonna be like, okay, cool, we got a couple of losses, yeah, we did this, but it was a great event. You can do that, but you got to understand the egos of these people. And they are not going to be in the business of losing no money over no sustained period of time. You got about 5 years in any business to where your losses have to actually overcome your profits. Or a higher entity is going to intercede and say, listen, man, this ain't a business. Like, stop it. And you're not going to be able to do business. You can start over. You can build another straw man and do it all over again. But in the grand scheme of things, that's not going to happen. And what did we see? We saw the week leading up to it, they clashed with Pro Box, which everybody loved Pro Box. But then they did an event that was parallel to Pro Box. And I said, man, this is the tip of the iceberg. This is the tip of the iceberg. And then when I looked at it and I heard everybody talking about what was going on and how, you know, because everybody came down and they was saying, oh, man, Tank, he's so ghetto for asking for 2 Ferraris. How you gonna ask for 2 Ferraris? You know that Negro got up there and asked him for 2 pink Ferraris. I'm just like, man, y'all don't even see the big picture. Somebody asked him for 500 million. Tank asked him for 2 Ferraris and a cup of coffee, and everybody had their panties in a bunch. I was like, dang, man. Like, are we gonna, like, 500 million or 2 Ferraris when you got it like that? What is that? But I was like, man, don't even entertain that. That's just the Tank detractors. Okay, cool. You can't fly swat them all. Let it go. But then I got to thinking about it. I said, okay, cool. So then when Canelo came out and he started going to war, everybody was like, oh, man, listen, I ain't never heard so much turkey slander in the last couple of days ever since some people came out after Canelo Alvarez said. That's why I said, man, we got to keep the same energy even when it don't involve your favorite fighter. Because when Tank was saying, listen, give me 2 Ferraris and a cup of coffee and I'll come and holler at you, y'all were like, oh, this Negro done lost his mind, man. See, this is why we can't let nobody other than Obama in the White House. Y'all lost y'all mind. And I said, look at the big picture, man. What's worth more, 500 million to somebody who don't sell out wherever they go, who might be on, who pretty much are on their way out, or a guy that's been getting it, got it out the mud, beat the statistics and odds, who whatever city he go to, he sell out. And he's a pay-per-view star, and fans can rely on him, but you would rather just piss all over him to put on your knee pads and your throat coat for somebody else. But then it changed when Canelo Alvarez came out and started jaw-jacking with Mr. Turkey. And everybody was willing to kiss the ring. And I'm like, I'm not sure. You might even, I could say, all right, look, cool. I know it's a ceremonial justice, just like when you go over to foreign countries and they do the little shoulder to shoulder, cheek to cheek. You know, that might happen. But if I told you had to kiss the ring, but you don't know what kind of ring it is, it could be a nose ring. It could be a earring. It could be you get the picture. But you're just willing to kiss the ring. But not me. Remember, these are them fruits and veggies, not them Reggies. This is fact-based content. We cannot outsource the work. Like, yes, it's okay to, you know what I'm saying, not put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify your funds. But come on, man. This is how we got sold up the river in the first place, being so trusting and believing. Not understanding that everything that we see in can be deceiving. Eureka. So when I look at it, it's not a hating thing. It's a person that has a vested interest and understands business, has a degree in it, been in it, had businesses, been in the military. That's not just the brag or boast, but I come looking for boxing talk, technical boxing. Who's going to win with the better jab? The stuff that's inside the ring. But I see that now it's changing. And now the conversation is all about who's entertaining. Even if on the night when the lights are so bright, people don't even be entertaining. They tell their fans, oh man, live with it, or SMD, or whatever they want to come up with. And I said, hold on, listen. I'm not going to be biased. Even though Tank is my guy and I can't stand what Canelo's been doing, I still respect Canelo for what he's been doing. I still had to give him his salute for what he was able to accomplish. But I'm like, man, people keep lumping up Tank and they keep lumping up Canelo. And I was like, okay, when Tank said the two Ferraris thing, people had a reaction because you got a lot of detractors. But then when Canelo came out and said, I seen a lot of people put on their flip-flops. But that's being common now. I can look out my window on certain days and see people get in cars, people that's supposed to be men with flip-flops on. That's the thing. You can go to a mall, a gas station, anywhere, and you will see grown men walk around in flip-flops. I don't get it, but that's now a thing. Why wouldn't it be in the boxing talk? So when everybody started giving all this pushback because Canelo came out and started going to war with the Sheik, I was like, that's kind of interesting. But that's not really the big point. That's not the big point, because people will say, oh man, that's just because you just taking a shot at Canelo and you putting on knee pads for Tank. You can think what you want. But this is what I know. If you say that you are the best thing for the sport of boxing, there should not be a bone in your body that'll allow you to put on a UFC event on the same night as a boxing event. Now, I don't care. Like, see, this is where you got to set your emotions to the side, because it don't matter who's your fighter is. I don't care if your fighter is Virgil Ortiz or Terrence Crawford. I don't care if your fighter is Devin Haney or Tank. If it's Shakur or Keyshawn or it's Kid Austin or Abdullah Mason. I don't care who your fighter. I don't care if your promoter is Al or Eddie. I don't care if you like what Teddy Atlas say or what Chris Algieri say, what Tim Bradley say or what Andre Ward say. I don't care if you like your favorite fighter to wear a pink bag, or you like your favorite fighter to wear a not so masculine shirt. If you are a true boxing fan, a warning flag would be if you saw somebody come in the game with a big blank check starting to dictate terms, and then they start to do things like put on a UFC event on the same night as a boxing event. As much as I can't stand Canelo, as much as he's going to make me pull out my fire stick when he actually do fight, I still don't think it's right. If because you can't have it both ways. I mean, that's if you are hardcore. But I've also come to the terms that casual fans run boxing. Casual fans run boxing. And people be thinking I'm hating when I say that, but this is the stark reality. The hardcores are going to buy, support. They're going to go out of their way. If they can make it to a fight, they can do all of this. Real hardcores. They're going to be around. They don't like nothing else. They don't even watch football. If you're anything like me, I did a show during the Super Bowl about boxing. And I got a Philadelphia Eagle tatted on my shoulder, and I used to play football. But now I'm boxing monogamous. I'm not boxer monogamous, but I'm boxing monogamous. And if you're looking at the health of the sport and everything, and this, everybody fall in love with the first person that come by and they wave a little bit of money, that's how you end up in the back of that van. That's how you end up in the back of that van. People looking for you, searching for you. They waiting, they watching. And even if you get recovered, you ain't gonna be the same, brother. I'm just saying that if you had any kind of critical thinking skill, you could disagree with me and my concepts on boxing all day, every day. You can hate the fact that I always use CompuBox to either justify or deny what my own eyes see. You cannot like the fact that I'm more of a fact-based content channel. You can hate the fact that I like to bring up numbers, even if they don't help out the people that I'm rooting for. You cannot like any of that, but you cannot disagree with me that if somebody came over with a blank check, and regardless, since he's the face of boxing, this guy would throw in the event in parallel with the face of boxing, but it was UFC. How can that be beneficial to boxing? How can that not be toxic? How can that prolong the sport of boxing? And why, if I bring it up and I point it out, people point fingers at me and say, I'm toxic. It's a Trojan horse. Stop it. Like, I'm not going to keep harping on this point, but every time we get on to something and we start doing something, man, just think about where you live, where you work. If I had a block over here, even if I was beefing with the dude over there, we're not going to let nobody from all the way outside over there come in here, and we're going to cater to them to outsource the work. We're not going to do that. We're going to figure out a way to where, okay, man, we might be able to do a little something, but like we see this and hear this every day. But when in the confines of boxing talk, we tend to forget our everyday lives. This don't work anywhere. This don't work in corporate. This don't work in the streets. This don't work anywhere. Like, yeah, you're enterprising, and I like it though. You multinational, and I like it though. But when you start putting out facts about boxing and where this is going to go, I don't like it, yo. Because one person has a vision. If something happened and that man shall perish, what if the next man don't like the vision, but he got control over all these things? Now, you getting sent up the river. We see this all the time when corporations get taken over. And I know this ain't going to get everybody jumping for joy, and you just not going to get the congregation passing around the collection plates. But I'm like, hold up, wait, let's think. Let's use our brains. Jeez. God's sakes. We got to think about things for the long haul, man. This is chess, not checkers. It looked good. People are getting paid, but it's, I said before one entity came in and everybody would revere it as him having a blank check and being able to do this. I already said with the Amazon Prime thing, because we seen with a new way being on Prime, I had already said before another entity even got involved, I said, oh, boxers ain't going to be able to duck. Like this whole side of the street, that's going to be ixnay because these platforms can work. That's before this other entity got involved. Now the other entity got involved. I said it was a great thing because now boxers ain't going to be able to duck. It's even more of a bigger, that size of the street became a fence that we all can hop over. whenever we want. But we're not looking at the bigger picture. That's how you end up in the back of that van. And I'm sorry. I be coming on here trying to talk about boxing, talk about, hey, who got the better job, talk about how, like, when I called out how Ryu was going to upset Pitbull, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I come on to talk about, but it seems like what everybody want to hear, what they need to hear, are the politics of boxing. But what you're afraid, because it's just like high school where you might want to be next to that jock. You might not have been able to wear that jersey. You might have just been at the pep rally, but you wasn't able to run out the tunnel at some point in time in your life, so you just want to be down like Brandy. That's not me. That's not me. In every aspect, the outsider looking in, the one on the main stage on several different pages. So now I tend to look at everything objectively, like the big picture, the long haul. Why? Because I already know that one punch could take one of my guys out. Anybody that's on my intro, anybody that you've seen video of on my channel, anybody that I take time out to talk about. I don't just take time to talk about them because I don't care about them. I do. I just think that sometimes maybe right now, this ain't for you. Like, no, that villain role, that ain't for you. I don't even know who you are now. I thought I knew. But right now, I'm starting to not recognize where boxing is going and what people really want, because we'll make roadblocks for why fights don't matter, and then we'll celebrate things that don't happen, and then we'll just sell ourselves to somebody without asking any kind of questions or having any kind of answers. We just being romantic. It's the honeymoon phase, y'all. This happened in relationships. This happened in employment. This is happening right now in the sport of boxing. And I would just ask you to proceed with caution before you end up bent over and nauseous, because it's a Trojan horse out here. It's a Trojan horse. And if we know it is, yeah, we know, okay, we let you inside the gates. And yeah, you came with something. You came with some kind of gifts, but you know what I'm saying? Now we got to keep our eyes on it. We got to maintain the standard. But all I know is that I don't care who it was. I don't care who it was. It didn't have to be Turkey. I just know that if you start doing activities like you're going at you're warring at the one who everybody else say. I had to concede and say it too, because it's hard to go up against it. If you're going up against the one who they say is the face of boxing, right? And then you're going up against one of the guys who, on an American level, a household name, selling out from city to city, you're going up against the one of the smaller faces of boxing, or the next up as far as the face of boxing. If you're going against them, but then you're also simultaneously going to put on an event that rivals a boxing event, I don't care if it was an amateur event. We seen it with Pro Box, which was our Wednesday fix, which was our one to where it's like, okay, cool. It's almost like the D leagues. If you can shine or whatever, you might can dip down like Speedy Rashidi, dip down to the D League, do your thing, and then you can pop back up on the big stage once you really. I thought Pro Box was a good thing. Now you collided with Pro Box. You yipping and yapping with the face of boxing. You yipping and yapping with the smaller face of boxing, and now you're going to do a UFC event on the same night as a boxing event. And I'm wrong for saying, hold on, man, let's scrutinize this, man. Let's look at this objectively. Let's not get our emotions involved. Let's think about the sport. But I'm wrong. No, that's a Trojan horse. And we should be able to look at it. I don't care, you know what I'm saying? I know this is not going to get the congregation jumping for joy. This is not going to give me a lot of super chats. I don't care. I'm putting stakes in the ground. And I'm keeping the eyes on the prize. This is not hating. For anybody that rode the short bus that want to be remedial, this is not hating. This is called using your critical thinking skills. Something that we have abandoned over time. We're actually devolving instead of evolving. That's why people can't understand that two things can be right at the same time. So right now, what I'm seeing as the pause before I get into the main event, this is the little section where I got to give my little rant, my little informative piece, my little fact-based content piece before I actually get into D block. But what I'm seeing right now in the climate, and this is how I'm looking at it. I talked to my old head about boxing. I asked him about what he thought about the fights and the verdicts that were rendered and how he felt about all of these things in the landscape of boxing. This is something that I always go back to him because he's had at least 4 strong decades where he was looking at it critically. He might not have did content, might not have been doing press, but he's been looking at it and interested in watching it. His brother was a boxer. He even did a little bit of himself for a while. But listening to him and where he's going, I was trying to tell him a couple months ago, I was saying, man, hey, I was pretty much saying, Pops, things have changed in the sport, man. It's not the same. It's like, I understand how you feel and what you got going on, but the sport of boxing has changed. So I have to tap in with him and I actually have to get his perspective on everything from time to time because I have to make sure I check myself because I'm a solution-oriented person. But I try not to let my processor spend too much time on me actually fixing a problem that I have. So if a problem pop up, I'm trying to knock it out of the park right away. I don't try to let it fester unless it's something that takes a little bit more time or I have to sit back and think about it. So I'll talk to him to see if I'm just being compulsive, if I'm not looking at it from the right angle, because he played chess. Excellent chess player, but he also liked boxing. And I know that he had his favorites and how he liked his favorites and the people that he watched and the people that resonate with him. So I know that he has his own perspective and it's not agenda driven. It's organic. It's natural. So when I talk to him and he's starting to see some of the same things I'm seeing and we haven't talked for weeks, I'm like, okay, cool. I know that I'm in tune and I'm not just playing along with no agenda. So I'm just asking us to use our critical thinking skills. Let's look at this. Because right now, I hear a lot of people with this, mainly with the Tank situation. With the Tank situation, we know that Loma was like, hey, look, I'm going to spend time with my family. Even though we seen him out there at that event. I don't know what he was doing. I thought he was spending time with his family. Not sure. We seen Loma at that event. Right? We seen the Shakur and Loma thing going back and forth. Okay, cool. That was a moment. They might be able to use that. It might be footage. We saw that, but I thought he was supposed to be off. But he said no. So then we see the Turkey thing saying, hey man, Shakur, you gotta let me know right now. Don't wait. And so then we start hearing rumblings that it's not official, but we start hearing rumblings that he's gonna fight Zepeda. And everybody keep looking at Taylor like, some people say, what you gonna do? Like that's something to brag about where you chose to go defend the belt against somebody instead of unifying against somebody that you already said I don't understand it. I just know that there are reports that Tank is out of the Olympics and he's involved in the Olympics with what's going on with the future talent. I'm like, I don't understand, but like, I don't see how he don't get no credit. It's like, wouldn't you be looking, that's how I am. I'm looking at the future. I'm looking at boxers like this little guy, Steven Navarro, that's coming up this weekend. Like, he got a mixture of, he's almost like a Bam and a faster, more accurate Leo Santa Cruz hybrid. It's like, man, he might be a nightmare as he developed. I'm looking at the future. So I'm thinking, man, Tank is out there doing the same thing that they said Floyd was doing when it came down to Shakur. Now, Tank is out there, according to the reports I've heard, because I'm not an insider. I don't have any insight. I don't have any friends that know him or anybody in the camp. This is the words on the street. He's out there at the Olympics doing a scouting report on the future. What does that say? He had Shushu in the camp, which is another rising up and comer who just so happened to get into it with Shakur. What does that say? You got to be tapped in with the youth. So even though you might see the light at the end of the tunnel or you can see the route to the end of the tunnel, which you know that right now, if it's already shining, you already know that the light can be even brighter if you just stay focused. So he's looking at the future. He's investing in the youth. He's getting around with the amateurs and doing this thing and doing all this. He's catching all this flack because somebody chose to go defend their belts or in agreement, in principle, however you want to put it, agree to defend their belts against this instead of going to go get the biggest fight that could have been made in the sport. Yet Tank's getting all of the blame. I look at it a little bit different. That's why I tend to mute or not hear or just disregard people as just being a detractor. I no longer say hate, because hate is when you whistled at the wrong woman and then later on that day you end up strange fruit. I also gave you the analogy of hate being that when somebody in a foreign land with a ratio of male to females might be like 32 to like 5 or 7, you'll experience what real hate is at that point in time. Until then, I would say that you're just the detractor of this boxer. That's what I would say. So that's the climate right now, and everybody's praising. So somebody is actually praising the fact that a boxer who was saying that they were the best thing since sliced bread, ready to take on the cash cow, whom many perceive, even somebody like Teddy Atlas has had on their pound for pound for at least about 5 years. Instead of unifying with that guy, the cash cow, the biggest sport that can happen, the biggest fight that can happen in your division, okay, from you walking away from a unification with the cash cow to fighting on the undercard to defend your belt. Not sure, but that's where we're at right now. So whatever side you pick is going to pretty much dictate whether or not we're on the same page and how we actually see boxing, and whether or not we really be on some bullshit or we really just politicking or whatever, or we really are looking at everything straight down the middle the way we should. But that's the state of boxing right now. And people are praising, pioneering, got the pom-poms, the knee pads, the throat coat, the tonsil jewelry, out for a guy that would throw an event, a UFC event, on the same night as the face of boxing. I'm not sure. I'm going to digress from that. This is the Trojan horse. These are the rumbling sounds. That's not a blank check. He's not going to give you whatever you want. And he also made a prediction. Now, with Madrimov being his guy, the Sheik came out and said that Terrence Bud Crawford was going to stop his guy in the 8th round. And we can play all the politics, we can do all the lip wrestling we want all day, every day. But if you were anything like me on the night of the fight, watching that fight, that crowd was real quiet. When they spanned those cameras during that fight, everybody was getting real quiet, and nobody was jumping for joy or looking like they was having a happy time. Everybody was looking with concern on their face because they didn't know what was going on. Why? Because that fight showed that guy, Turkey, that he don't know if he should even finance the destruction of one of his favorite fighters. And like we used to say in the military in air assault, when we used to make our seats so we could repel out of them helicopters. Oh, it's tight, but it's right. It's tight, but it's right. It's tight, but it's right. And that's not going to resonate with a lot of people, but oh well, I wouldn't be me if it was anything other than that. And I'm not going to be me anything other than that. I just want you to put on your thinking cap. And that's not too much to ask. That's the segment on the Trojan horse. I can go on for days and show you all kind of stories and all kind. Remember, I told you about bread and circuses and the circus act of the Ryan Garcia and the Devin Haney. I told you that they was in the wrong spot. I was the first channel to actually put it out that they was on the wrong side doing that up in New York. The first one took a lot of scrutiny. Last year, I was actually telling you that Jerron Boots Ennis should be moving up to 54 ahead of them guys. Once I realized he wasn't going to get Earl and Bud, he should have moved. Now that he didn't move and he can't get the fight, now people are saying he should go ahead and move to 54. Not now. And that's what we're going to get into this whole, we're going to get into the program now. We're going to get into the program now. I'm here. So, let me get to these comments and I'm going to get right into the program. His twin, salute, bro, Bodywork. Cokie, salute, Bodywork. Pitbull fans finding a new guy to follow. Yeah, Cookie Monster. Hey, Cokie, happy Friday. All right, cool. We in this thing. All right, let's get down to it. This is what we're talking about. D Block, Deron Boots Ennis, Amasa Stanyanis, Mario Barrios, and Brian Norman Jr. Mike, why do you call it D Block? I call it D Block because it was once said that, well, it's a common thought or theme that the 147 division is the glamour division, right? And whenever you hear people talking about the divisions now, yeah, feed the trolls. You know what I'm saying? Holler at me about that merch. Feed the trolls. That's what I do. And to explain that, I always say that when you start telling the truth, people say that you're trolling. So in terms, I say feed the trolls, which means tell the truth. It's just that a lot of time when you start telling the truth is at a point in time when people don't really want to hear. It's like we don't want to hear that. Feed the trolls, which means tell the truth. Right now, Deron Boots Ennis is the man at 147. He's actually suffering from being right on the cusp between two different generations. I think Earl Spence was probably like on the tail end of that generation that had Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, Bud, Kell Brook, Amir Khan. Like Earl Spence was like on the tail end of that generation. Deron Boots Ennis came after that. He came after that. So the way Spence and Bud was actually looking at it was like they were looking at each other like, okay, cool. That's it for us. They was not going to risk anything outside of that. Yes, somebody had to go get the belts. And I got to remind people that was Earl Spence. That was Earl Spence. Somebody had to go get the belts. So when Bud came, so Earl Spence had already had one belt. Terrence came up on his first fight up with Horn. He got a belt. And from that time on, Earl went on to go get the other two belts. Fact-based content. Why? And at each point in time, Bud was not going to go get him. Deron Boots Ennis was in a situation where he had to decide which line he was going to be in. A lot of people they want to pick and choose what they want to acknowledge about Boots and where he was and why he got out of this line, why he did that. They're doing the same thing with Virgil. The bottom line is the behavior of both of them guys, Boots and Virgil. They were looking at like, well, look, if we're going to press somebody and try to do it the right way, they felt more confident they would actually get a fight with Earl Spence before they would with Bud. That's the bottom line. You're not going to hear that pretty much echoed anywhere else except for the people that are individual fans of both of those sets of fighters. They felt like they were going to be more confident in being able to get a fight with Earl Spence before they did with Bud. Period. That's how they felt. So you can judge their decisions and what made them get over here and step back over there all you want. That's how they felt. That's what their actions showed. Lo and behold, Bud go on and put on a clinic against Earl. A lot of his fans will tell you, oh man, we knew this 5, 6, 7, 50, 11. I think somebody said they knew this 10 years ago that Bud was going to beat whatever. You know what I'm saying? You also hear Roy Jones saying, listen, he's the reference fights. I knew the whole time. Bud can go forward, backwards, sideways. He can do this, this, and that. Pretty much trying to call Earl a one-trick pony. So they knew. So a lot of people knew. A lot of people knew. A lot of people might have known skill-wise, but they were looking at behavior-wise and what Earl was able to do. And they thought that Earl might be able to pull it off. I was one of them. Once that happened, right, and that devastation happened, a lot of people were then turned off when it came to Earl Spence, right? They no longer looked at the glamour division. Everybody they pivoted. It was going to be Jermell Charlo, But when Jermell Charlo went up in Fort Canelo, up at 68, when he lost, that whole thing, once Bud saw that, he was like, oh, I don't want to fight Mel no more. I want to go this route, that route, whatever. I'm going to 54. And everybody was like, okay, cool. That left 47 in shambles. Why? Earl technically was still there until he fights at 54, but it was designed or designated that he was going to go up to 54. That again left 47 in shambles. Boots was waiting in the wind like, man, what do I do? If I go up to 54, I'm going to have to go do this. I'm going to have to go do that. I've got all these fights. I got all this experience. I've been down here at 47, and Magic Stallones took step-aside money when Earl fought. So he had been waiting in the ring. Boots and Stallones had been waiting in the rings forever. Then you had the occasional Keith Thurman, whether he was putting his flute down or doing whatever he was doing, getting his massages and stretching, doing this yoga. Not sure. You also had him coming in and out of the picture. And we didn't know what was going to happen with the rematch between Bud and Spence. That left Jerron Boots Ennis. That left Mario Barrios, who moved up. That left Imante Stanyanis, whose biggest dance partner was Virgil Ortiz. Well, after Imante Stanyanis had got appendicitis, and then Virgil Ortiz had rhabdomyolysis twice, leaving him at the altar, that left Imante Stanyanis without a dance partner, inactive. They all was a part of PBC. Boots was going to do his thing with Cameron Duncan. He passed away, lo and behold, he go over to Matchroom, do his, get on with Eddie or whatever and start, earning with Hearn. He shows out at his home, fight Avenesian, stops him a round faster, double the efficient rate of a Terrence Bud Crawford. And now he is the guy at 47 who for years people were saying he was high risk, low reward. And I remember when Bud was saying, when he got on Akbar Barak and said, I don't even know if I'm going to take this fight, man. That fight is beneath me and this and this and that. I have the videos. They're already up. We're not going to revise history over here. I just got to give a backdrop because this is the backdrop to how this became D-Block. And we're not going to microwave this. I'm going to take my time because you need to hear this. So Boots was waiting in the wings. He was sitting there. He was in between a rock and a hard place. He couldn't get Bud. He couldn't get Spence. At the point in time when Bud was saying that he was not going to fight Ugas, who had that other strap. And remember, Ugas got that strap off of Pacquiao, who Pacquiao got that strap off of Keith Thurman. And for the longest time, I blamed Keith Thurman for all that. But being the kind of person I am, I said, you got to forgive Keith Thurman. He just underestimated Manny Pacquiao. And I grew up being a big fan of Manny Pacquiao. I was. Pacquiao was a guy, man. He was, he was entertaining. He was a little guy. He was a little engine that kept going up and going up and going up until he ran, you know what I'm saying? And then you had Mayweather and the specialness of Mayweather. But you got to think, when Bud wouldn't fight Ugas, who got the strap off of Pac, who got the strap off of Keith, Earl and Bud both had plans for Undisputed. Only Bud moved up on his first fight and got a belt and stayed over there with Bob. He dropped the mic and said Bob couldn't get the good fights. When he fought Sean, that was in the midnight hour. That went to purse bid. He didn't want to fight Sean. Why? Because him and Sean were playing the same game that Keyshawn and Shakur were playing. We BFFs. We always said we're going to have to sit down at the table and hash it out. And if the money's right and this and this and that. Sean Porter was semi-retired. But in the midnight hour, they came down with a plan. I don't think Sean wanted to fight that man. And in that fight, Sean said that for the first time in training camp, that was the first time in his life that his father asked him to do something and he didn't do it. And Kenny came out and said that for the first time in his life, they But I ain't gonna say for the first time in his life. I might be adding that. I might be adding that little part, but that's what my mind here. They said that they discussed what would happen if they had to throw the towel in. And I'm like, man, hold on. How you talked about throwing the towel? I know that when you, as a professional, you gotta sit down with a boxer and at some point in time say, hey, listen, man, if it come down to me saving you, I la Mark Breland, Deontay Wilder, I'm throwing in that motherfucking towel. I know at some point in time in the career, you gotta say that. But ironically, this is before the Bud fight when they said that, and you have the history with Kenny and Bud. And Kenny was not going to allow Sean, especially with a career. You see how well Sean speaks and talks and how he's jumping around to all these, using all that athleticism to jump from this platform to that platform to doing this podcast and all that. We already see how that worked. Bud stopped that man. Earl go out and saying, man, he shouldn't have came to the fight without wearing all that war shit. You know what I'm saying? They was pissed off. Well, the fight happened and Bud showed that he was supreme at 47, knocked everything that he touched out at 47, had the Midas touch. That's why he's the closer in my Boxes to Watch collection. My question is, why is the man still holding on the belt if he moved up to 54? And this leaves this whole category because a lot of people want to call out Mario Barrios. A lot of people are attaching their name to Mario Barrios, even though when Tank fought him, oh man, who was Mario Barrios? Now everybody and their mama talking about. I bet you Devin Haney come back and probably fight Mario Barrios at 47. Him or Ryan. And Mario Barrios is in talks with fighting Manny Pacquiao. Don't blame Mario Barrios. He a soldier, because when you look at his resume, he done shared the ring with some names. You got him on the right side. You got Boots on the left side. Those are the bookends. So now everybody's trying to rush Boots up out of the division saying, hey, man, you got to go up to 54. No, he don't. Why? Because he realized the same thing that David Benavidez realizes, that you cannot stand in a line with a man who claiming they are the best but don't want to fight you. Period. Wisen up. Make your name off of knocking out everybody else around you, or playing King of the Hill with everybody else that's around you. So when you remove Earl Spence, who was able to, through marketing, by having the Dallas Cowboys in the biggest stadium in the nation as his backyard. When people say, I'm going to fight him in his backyard, well, for Earl, that was AT&T. That's how he was able to get his. It wasn't like the whole Bud thing where ain't no real football team and this and that. He actually did it that way by packing that stadium, developing a relationship with those Cowboy players and Jerry Jones, and building that up to make the equity into the fight that they had when he had 3 of them straps. That's when it was the glamour division. And Manny Pacquiao was still looking like, okay, cool. And then when Manny Pacquiao came up and showed you that he could do what he did when he knocked Keith Thurman down and made him spit out his mouthpiece, that's when it was the glamour division. Now people is like, man, well, who's the money? Because we done changed over. Boxers like, well, if it make, the first thing they say, well, if as far as financial, if it make money and, if it makes sense, then I'll do it and I'll do this and that. Well, 47 is no longer the glamour division, y'all. Newsflash. Even though, like Boots is making a hard case, especially if you come into Philly. If you sold out 14,000 plus in his own backyard, then we can scale the numbers on the actual prices of the tickets or whatever you want to say. But if you have actually gotten to the point where you have 14K in a stadium of your own in Philadelphia. Now, I'm a Philadelphia Eagle fan. I told y'all that. If you wear the wrong jersey going to a football game, they will push you in them sticker bribe bushes. It's rough. But to get 14,000 plus people in the building, regardless, however many was comped or whatever, this and that, we know not many were comped according to the numbers, according to the pay of Boots. That whole, I'm not going to get paid for Boots. Now, the risk versus reward, yeah, it's high risk because of the caliber of fighter that Boots is. how offensive he is, has one of the best offensive arsenals out there. You ain't gonna never hear him in the corner with somebody telling him, hey, let your hands go. That story about him being high risk, low reward, I'm not sure. It's about to be very hard for people to say that. Wow, if you can pack a stadium with 14,000 people, all he needs is a dance partner. All he needs is a dance partner. You should be able to make some bread. Eddie already showed you that with Avanesian. He showed you that with Avanesian. It was going to be Crowley. He showed you that with Avanesian. But a lot of people that were Errol Spence fans, like myself, if you're a diehard Errol Spence only fan, you're going to hate on Jerron. But there was a lot of pressure when Bud was saying that he didn't want to fight Ugas. He wasn't going to fight Ugas. And that was the last strap. Because Errol Spence went and got that IBF off of Kell Brook. Then he went and got the WBC off of Sean Porter. It was only one strap, which was the WBA that I told y'all the history. It got passed from Keith Thurman to Manny Pacquiao to Ugas. When Earl got the eye injury and he missed out on that payday in that fight with Pacquiao at that point in time. Bud had decided he was not going to go get that strap. So it was a point in time when people were saying, well, if you don't fight Ugas, and since you ducking Bud, because they kept saying he was ducking Bud, I'm like, I don't know how when Bud is over there with Bob and he's saying Bob can't get him to fight. I don't know how it was Earl when it was always hashtag blame Al. Not sure. But I remember as an Errol Spence fan, everybody was saying, well, if you ain't gonna fight Ugas, and you ducking Bud, you gotta fight Boots. You gotta fight Boots. And as an Errol Spence fan, I was like, well, shoot. When I looked at it, Errol Spence said, shoot, what did he say? Young lions hunt. He's like, I'll fight him. You'll get your turn. And it was already understood, just like in Manchester Giannis when he took the step aside, that Spence and Earl had to get it on because that was the next. That was tagged as the next made pack. It was the biggest as far as what the biggest fight that could be made in the sport, and it had the rumblings of a Mayweather and Pacquiao. But the pressure was on Earl at the time that he had to fight Boots. Well, after that, it was the same pressure that was on Earl to fight Boots. That same pressure, that didn't transfer over to his fans. Now it was like, oh, I don't got to fight Boots. What he got to offer? So that's why I believe that even though I thought a year ago Boots should go up to 54 before them guys and get a head start, now I'm like, well, shoot, since you fight under the IBF and you're showing that under the IBF you can only rehydrate 10 pounds, yeah, you might be a big boy, but the fact that you can still do that with a 10-pound rehydration, which everybody overlooked, maybe you need to settle in. Maybe you need to go across the board and get the other belts, Boots. Why? So that when you get up to 54, them guys can't use the same excuse about who have you fought and what have you done. Even though you follow what people don't like to use is the triangle theory. But what the triangle theory is the common opponent theory. So we believe in the common opponent. Oh, well, that's a common opponent. Because you hear people say, oh, man, that's a common opponent. That's a common opponent. And then you hear people say, oh, man, triangle theories don't work. Well, triangle theories and common opponent are the same thing with different terminology. I'm sorry if you just learning that today. But when there's a common opponent, that gives you data. They give you something. They give you some kind of information. It does not guarantee an outcome, but it gives you some more data or some insight or something to go by other than theory. That's what common opponent is. When you share the common opponent, that's also a triangle theory class. You had Imante Stanionis who was going to get his shot at Virgil Ortiz. He didn't get it. We talked about it. He came back. He fought Gabriel Maestre. Gabriel Maestre had just fought Trayvon Marshall, the sniper. Caught him while he was cold, put him out on the ropes. It was devastating. The young man came back. Imante Stanionis, after all the things he put in, all of the hard labor, all of the hard work, all of the blue-collar stuff he's been doing, how he's been able to maintain his motivation, he came back and put on a nice performance against Gabriel Maestre. He's a rough, rugged, blue-collar. I would say his IQ is more than decent. He has a chin. He has his fundamentals. He's a likable guy. When you hear him, he has respect. He speaks. I like hearing him talk about boxing. Why? Because he's very honest. He's truthful. He don't hold anything back. This is before the silk sheets, but this is one of the guys that even when he do get to the silk sheets, he's not going to show his ass. He's not. He's from humble beginnings, and he's going to treat his career just like that, no matter how it goes. A very formidable opponent. Very formidable. Rough, rugged. If you don't belong in there, I think he can get you out of there. But you're going to have to pack a lunch to fight him. A lot of people are saying that Imante Stanionis in boots is the best fight that can happen at 147 right now, and I tend to believe it. Why? Imante Stanionis, I think he was like 28, 27, 28, I think. Might be older because when I first started watching them, sometimes when you watch them, you don't realize like 2 or 3 years elapsed. But we're gonna look at all of that in the stats. But this is the overall outlook of as to how this became D block, and this is why I'm breaking it down. This is not considered a glamorous division, even though it can be. But when you say D block, mighty D block, you got to go back to the locks. That gutter, that gritty, that man, you're going to take your lumps and bruises. That's what this division is. A lot of people might not see Mario Barrios as that, but Mario Barrios has also had the experience. He's an Aztec warrior. He's been in there with Tank. He's been in there with Ugas. He's been in there with the guy that arguably beat Adrian Broner, the one who went on to get slapped to sleep by Gary Antoine Russell. He also put him out fast. Firework at 47, right before Ugas, put him out. We're going to go down and look at his resume and look at what he's been able to do. But then you have a young guy from Atlanta, Georgia, a guy that initially I was skeptical of Brian Norman Jr. Why? Because I had bought into listening to somebody on YouTube over embellishing and talking and shoving them down our throat. So when I seen him in the fight, when I saw him and he got dropped and how he was looking, I was like, oh man, they done overhyped this guy. So I was just almost dismissed. Why? Because we have a tendency to do that. Instead of just saying, look, I rock with him. I got good energy for him. I hope he do well. This is what his character, this is what he do good. This is what he do bad. This is what he can work on. This is what I see is for him. We can't do that. We got to use all his absolutes. Like if you don't think he winning, then F you. And if you don't think he winning, then you ain't on my team and pick a side and this and this and that. I was a little down on him. Then I got to watching it. Then I got to listening to what he was saying. Then I saw the fight in which he had. And then I heard his father, and then I heard the young man. And I was like, this young man is sharp. When I listened to his father, it's like he's obsessed with boxing. He got that mano a mano. Like he's not gonna be out there. He's not out there pussyfooting around. He's not out there trying to figure out like, oh man, do I want to? No, he has the same thing that Kid Austin has in that he wants to fight. He don't care if he loses, if he just wants to fight. He wants to rumble. He's growing. He wants to test himself. He wants to, if it's a problem, if it's a fly in the ointment and he has to figure it out and he has to face some adversity, then goddamn it, give me the adversity. I'm going to work it out. I'm going to go back to the tool shed. I'm going to sharpen this tool. I'm going to clean out this cabinet. I'm going to put some oil on this. That's what Brian Norman Jr. is. That's what Brian Norman Jr. is. Hearing his father talk in a recent interview when he was on TVV, man, his father was like, listen, man, all that being pretty stuff, trying to look cute and all that, we ain't. We steamrolling. We bulldozing. With the ability to make adjustments. And we will see. Because we seen just like most people didn't want to admit with Ice Hot Pitbull Cruz and how he was a one-trick pony, a pressure fighter, just come forward, punches and bunches, overwhelm you with pressure, slap you to sleep if you let him. Don't pivot him, don't turn him, don't throw nothing straight down the middle. Move too fast before not working on your timing. You already seen it. I called it. I would have won money. I put my money where my mouth is. And I put my predictions out there. And I'm bold enough to say stuff and call it before everybody else do. Brian Norman Jr. is a rough, rugged, blue-collar guy. His father was a fighter as well. For people who don't like people who fathers didn't train and do all that. For people who in that vein or whatever. Brian Norman Jr. is a rough, rugged customer. And I know how everybody thinking, they're like, well, he just got a belt and you don't want to have to lose, you don't want him to lose it that fast. Why? Because when you're a tough customer and you actually have a belt and you come up on a loss or you suffer too great of an adversity, it's very, very hard for somebody to get back in the ring with you. Like Sabril Matias, if you thought Sabril Matias was ducked before, it's going to be very, very hard for people to get back in the ring with him. Why? Because if you don't have a belt, he's just a very, very tough fight to where even if you win, you're gonna lose. Because you're gonna get beat up. And like unless you have something that's gonna mitigate what they're coming with, they're gonna beat you up. And that's what Brian Norman is. Brian Norman Jr. is the type of fighter where even when you get in the ring with him, even if you are able to finesse him and do this and this and that, he's gonna beat you up. He's gonna hit your body. He's gonna hit you upside your head. Like even if you come out and the judges say, "Oh man, you like a Shakur style. Oh man, you did the sweet science of hit and not get hit. And oh yeah, man, you avoided and you evaded and this and this and that." Even if you do that style, after you get out of the ring with Brian Norman Jr., you're gonna be beat up. You're gonna be bruised. Something's gonna hurt. You're gonna be like, it's gonna take a little minute. That's what he's bringing to the table. That's why I call this D block. There are no easy outs on this level. And ironically, man, some people might think it's Mario Barrios, but I think Mario Barrios has sharpened up his skill, especially if he's still with Virgil. I'm not sure if he's still with Virgil Hunter or not. Mario Barrios is seasoned now. Mario Barrios is now the head of the class as far as seasoning. These other guys, I'm gonna ask you a question. If it was a dark alley and Boots was down one alley, Stan Giannis was down one alley, Brian Norman Jr. was down one alley, and then Mario Barrios was down one alley, which alley would you send your 24-year-old son down through? Now, your son can fight. He's been a badass. He's been fighting all his life. Which alley are you going to send him down with hopes that he going to get to the other side? That's the question. I'm not sure. That's why this is called D block. Aaron Jones, I saw you in here, man. Happy Friday. T.O. wants fight Steve Claggett, but doesn't want Brian Norman Jr. He should fight Brian Norman if he wants to be taken serious for a Crawford fight. Yeah, that's how I feel, Koki. But I want to do a couple things. What's up, Pop?
What's going on, bro?
I'm good, man.
Looking at over here, this look like all NBA team third level.
Third level?
Yeah, it's all NBA, but you know how like they try, Jaylen Brown on the third, he's like all NBA third team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like just because they don't have the name and you don't know them like that yet, don't mean that they haven't been in there with some of your favorites.
Yeah, I'm just saying that. Look, I think the big picture with these guys is that I think you be in the vein of that of if your favorite fighter lost, find a new one. What I'm in the vein of if you're not falling in love with one fighter, do you at least know the division and you know the climate of the division, the history of the division, and what's really going on? You'll know some major players. And I think that if these guys play it right, they don't play the politics game and they play it right. If they all mix it up, ain't no telling what's gonna happen in these fights. Styles make fights. We know their boots right now. People would say their boots will mop the floor, will mop the floor with these guys, but I'm not sure. You
When
know
it
what I
comes,
mean?
yeah,
I'm not really sure.
when it comes to that, when it comes to the eye test and you're looking at all of them, yeah, Boots looks like he's head and shoulders above. What you call it is battle tested. Mario Barrios is battle tested. Worst thing about him is that he bruises easily. Brian Norman Jr., if he could pace himself in a fight, I think sometimes he gets ahead of himself. And then this is just something about this standing on this kid. I seen him fight one time. True, I think he would be perfect, like he's tailor-made for Boots, but I just got to see it because he a tough, he a tough one.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
him because I like only reason why I think the challenge with Boots and Stanionis would be is that even though Stanionis is not known for knockout power, he'll shorten his stuff up and he's straight down the middle. He's gonna go to the body. He's almost kind of like Earl in a sense where he gonna go to your body. You know what I'm saying? He gonna be there. Like you're not gonna deal with a whole lot of like jazzy moves. So if he's
nah,
not
he gonna be
using
right
his
here.
defense,
He gonna be in
Boots,
your wheelhouse.
huh?
He gonna be in your wheelhouse.
He gonna be right there in your wheelhouse. So he gonna be there, but he gonna be throwing his shit straight down the middle. So if you load up or you miss, he gonna be able to hit you in your chin like with pinpoint accuracy, and then can change it like right then and there because he's gonna be going to your body too. So you got to be sharp with him. You can't do a whole lot of wind ups, a lot of telegraphing because he's putting water in the basement the whole time. He right there, but he got a good. I mean, he got a. I think his jab might be the best between his jab and his body work because his jab it's a hard, quick jab. Like and he use it.
On the regular there. I only seen him fight a few times, but that last time he fought when he got this, I don't know what you want to call it, intern belt, or is he the champ now? Now that Bud won. Was he officially elevated yet to WBA champ?
He hasn't been, but let me look at this. This is what I wanted to show this is what I wanted to do. This is the real more part of the show right here. Let me see. This is what I really want to look at, and this is my question.
Because these are the four champions. They just Stanionis and Brian Norman Jr. were like they're waiting for their email. I mean, they fought, but they're kind of waiting for their the official that Bud has. You know what I'm saying? He's been relinquished. He relinquished the belt, so he's moved on to 154 completely. But these are the champions, like, and if what we've been seeing, I think when it comes to those fighters, is that they're gonna their promoters, their management gonna try to get them one title defense before they match them up with each other or somebody else. Because only one other person in this division that matters, and that's Conor Ben. So, but yeah,
this is what I want to show. This is the real part of the show, the nutritional value of the show right here. So they got Jerron at number 1. He was previously at number 2. They still got Earl Spence there, which is just a waste of a slot because Earl Spence he's not at 47 anymore. And I'm an Earl Spence guy, but he's not at 47. So I don't know why they used that spot up for number 2. Stallion should be number 2, but he's number 3. Mario Barrios is number 4. Connor Bennett is number 5. Brian Norman Jr. is number 6. Suleiman Sissoko, he's number 7. Shakram Gassab is number 8. Alexis Roja is number 9. And number 10, this guy, Jin Sasaki, you're going to have to, like, I want people, because just like Steve Claggett, I did this before Teofimo fought Steve Claggett. I was saying, listen, by the rankings, I was saying, this guy's going to get a fight. He's going to pop up. Don't act like you don't know him. Get ahead of the game and go do your homework. This guy, Jin Sasaki, I'm going to tell y'all why you should get to know this guy. 1, he's reckless aggression, so he's going to bring action. And for the powers that be, they're going to want to see action. But also, he's from Japan. And with the whole thing, that the movement that's going on with Japan, with all of these Japanese fighters coming up, they're going to put him in the mix. You're going to see one of these guys fight this guy pretty soon. This guy, Jin Sasaki. Mark my word. We're going to look at some other rankings. But I'm just telling you, I'm introducing you now so that you know who this guy is. He's reckless aggression. I mean, I don't see anything real special, but if you are timid with him and you're not scared if you scared to let your hands go, he will throw. Now he's wild, but he has a little power, but he's gonna throw his hands. He's gonna try to overwhelm you. He's gonna throw all different angles and be real awkward. But watch out for that guy, because Japan in the era that they're trying to usher in, that's why I be trying to tell people, in a way, is that guy. But then you got some other fighters over there like Nakatani, and then you got this guy, Sissoko, and then you got this guy, Sasaki, or Jin Sasaki. He's gonna be a guy, so people can't act like they don't know who he is.
You know what else, and who else Japan got over there?
Who?
It's called that bag.
Oh yeah, big bag. Yeah,
big bag. We going over there because you know what I'm saying.
I thought he was China. I thought he was China though. I think he Chinese.
If he China, they got that big bag over there too. Word.
But let me go over this real quick. This is what I wanted to know. This is what I want to know right here. And this is why I'm like, okay, I'm glad you're here. That was the ESPN.
Was that the cruiserweight division, the bridgerweight?
This is it. This is what I want to. This is where I was at. Let me see. This is why I say, man, we gotta we can't have it. We can't have it both ways. This is it right here. I think this is it. Now, when I go over here, as of August the 8th, today is the 9th.
He's got to give up them. They got to get his name off of that.
That's what I'm saying. So okay. I was concerned, but you a realist. So not only do the ring have him there, but the WBO have him there. Now I understand that. Okay, cool. Boots is beneath me. I'm at 54. He done went up there. He done got a title. Why are you holding the belts?
You think it's him, or do you think that they're not ready to use them guys?
It can't be that though. You can't. If you have no intentions, you can't be mad at Boots, because you can't be saying, "Oh, Boots don't want it. He don't." You know, it's like, man, come on, man. Like, you can't, like, this is what we were saying about Canelo at 68. Like, this is what we were saying is like, okay, if you're gonna do that, then at least let the people, you know what I'm saying? It's like this is part of the thing where people don't when this subject comes up with. I'm trying to move on to D Block. I'm moving past Bud. I'm moving past Spence. I'm looking at 47 because I love that division, just like I've grown to love 40. And 47 was my 35 and 47 was my division. But now I'm looking at 47 and 40 more, and I got my eyes on 35, and I know what's going on at 35. But I'm looking at it like, look, y'all was the old school, like, because I don't even include Thurman in there. I don't even want to reference Thurman at 47 no more. Because people saying keep saying, oh man, he should go ahead and do Boots. He should. I'm like, man, that window has passed. He's in the same window as Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, Emil Khan, Kell Brook, Bud. All them guys are gone. Like, so move up. Like, if we can't hold you to the fire to say, all right, well, shoot, get it, come down and get Boots. Let the belts go, man.
Do you think that Bud is holding them belts, or they just haven't? They keeping his name because his name popping right now. Because in my mind, those 4 guys at the bottom are legitimately the champions. You need to be trying to get. I mean, Boots has just had a title defense. Stanionis, Barrios, and Brian Norman Jr. need at least 1 to 2 title defenses to make them, get their name out there, get them sexy. Stanionis needs 2 more fights just so, that 17 looks way more, it looks way stronger on your record than 15-0. Yeah, those are the champions right there. And it's like, you just got to get used to it. Like, this is, if this is basketball, this is Anthony Edwards and the Tatums and the them. We got, LeBron and Steph Curry they gotta go ahead.
They gotta go in, but they gotta have the full. What I believe is they gotta have the full Monty. Like, you can't go in like, oh well, such and such still, because that's still like I gotta pull you to the side and describe this. It's like, no, look, man, let the young guns be the young guns, and you went up. Like, don't do what you wouldn't want other people to do to you. Let these guys have it. Let it be known that Brian Norman is who he is. Stanionis is who he is. Boots is who he is. Like, with those titles to justify, so that now that's more attractive. Because right now it's like, when you start saying interim and all that other stuff, when you should be the legit guy now, because the guy that was it is not going to defend it, and he's moved on. He's elevated. I should be that guy now.
Not only that, you just showed that Bud's not even ranked as one of the top welterweights. Boots is ranked number 1 welterweight. That's why I be like, yo, I don't know, man. Like, is it the fighter or is it the sanctioning body that is just using the fighter's name still? Because now it's like, when you're going down, I don't see Earl Spence in here.
See this box live. And you see this guy see on Box Live, see this guy number 2 right here, Sasaki.
Yeah.
And you got Giasov. But these guys, and then Karan, he's gonna be there because of the problems. But yeah, I mean, Earl's not on this one.
Earl's not on that one, but then but Bud's on that one, it's like, man, I think to me they playing games. I'm just waiting, because I remember what was told to me the first time, like, Bud is no longer a welterweight. And in his mind, he's no longer champion. And I don't know if it's a fee you got to pay to, like, the relinquish or some shit, but he's on to something else. These are the champions. Ennis, Stanionis, Barrios, and the last one to get one was Brian Norman Jr. Those are the champs, bro. They the champs. Like, put some respect on their name. Brian
and
Norman
these guys,
Jr.
And these guys, because you can say what you want about Ennis, but the man got 32 fights with a 90% knockout rate. Like, I mean, I don't care if it's tomato cans or whatever. You got people that's fighting, they're like 10, 11, 13 fights in, and they have not knocked out every single person. Like, even if it's a can, it's very, very hard to at 32 fights be at like a 90% knockout rate. Like, I don't care if it's a can, I don't care if it's not, because somebody gonna get some energy to be like, hold on, man, this dude knocking everybody out. They're gonna come with their A game. You know,
Joe Spencer, I will always use him as an example. You remember him?
who?
Joey Spencer.
Yeah.
Has he had 5, 10 round fights yet? Or is he still a prospect with 8 round fights? And I ain't even seen him fight in a minute. But he was, they was giving him a bunch of tomato cans, and one tomato can clipped his ass. He ain't never been the same.
Yeah,
So
I
you're right.
remember that because he was the Christian outdoorsy, woodsy, like,
Yeah,
like
he was the
he was
boxing Tim
built in
Tebow. He
shape,
was like
but
Tim Tebow for boxing.
yeah. But let's look at these guys right here. So everybody get real familiar, so we don't act all strange when these fights start coming up. Albanesian is going to be a name that one of these guys might have to go through. Santillion, that's the guy that Brown Norman Jr. actually beat. I seen that guy Giasov fight. The verdict was out on him.
I seen him too. I caught one of his fights. I'm not gonna lie. I caught one of his fights.
Rocha, I think that if you're elite level talent, you can get by him. I think that he was a little inflated, and the fact that he was on the Golden Boy kind of disguised him. That guy Sasaki, they're gonna push this guy Sasaki, man. They're gonna try to shove him down our throat. I think the wild card is Conor Ben. And the wild reason why I say the wild card is Conor Ben is because he can't fight over there.
Okay.
But he was a name. And Conor Ben, I ain't gonna lie, before the steroid stuff, Conor Ben was one of my guys. He was like the corporal commander. Like I was impressed with what Conor Ben was able to do. I can't acknowledge that after that actually happened, Conor Ben has not. I mean, even though I only got Dotson to go by, I mean, it was 2 fights. I had that other fight with that tall guy, that tall big guy, little bit bigger, but he has not looked the same since that verdict came down. So I mean, I'll bite my tongue on what I think.
People with Conor Ben, like I was like, well, with Conor, when it come to him, 1, he got the name. 2, he actually can fight. He not just getting by on the name. Conor Ben can't fight. Yeah, man, I don't see how. And he's gonna sell because he's got he's got baggage, he's got turmoil, he's toxic. He's gonna talk shit. He's gonna have an accent. He's a pretty boy. Like I don't understand why somebody ain't trying to get in there and mop the floor with him. Like I ain't trying to hear that. Oh, he's ranked number 7. I ain't trying to hear none of that shit.
That's why I wanted you to ask. I mean, y'all went on to talk about it, but that's why I wanted you to ask Blair about him, man, because I thought that would be premier, to get him over
that my fault. The first time I ever interviewed him, we like he already so I already kind of know how he feel about Conor Ben. Like he said I go over there to England and whoop Conor Ben's ass. I don't give a fuck. But now that I think Conor can't even fight over there, he's got to come over here. And right now, the name that was tossed around that I heard was Keith.
Keith with who?
With Blair.
That's a good look, but like, did you see? Because I was going to hit you behind the scenes, but did you see how they tried to flip it? Well, because I don't, that other guy, I don't really go to McDonald's like that, So I'm like, why would he get on there and say that he didn't want to? Because I seen what you did, the interview you did with him, but why would he go over there and say that he don't want Boots right now?
I think the way, like, to be real with you, Did you see their interview?
I told you I don't go to McDonald's.
I watched their interview, right? And their interview, like, to me, the shit just wasn't genuine. I think homie was already out there for the Canelo press conference anyway, because I seen him at the press conference standing up and shit. So I just be paying attention to shit. I think he got Blair on because he could, and it was a good look. Because to be truthfully honest, Blair was supposed to come over and jump on with us, right? But it's a good look for Blair. So I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's why when I did my interview, I was like, well, just, you know what I'm saying? Like, tell the whole, like, just tell us how the whole story was. And if they offered you that you would, right after the AB fight, you'd be going into the fight with Boots. And he was like, on some real shit, no, not right now. I need a little bit more time, because even though it looked like that, he was like, yo, AB can punch like a motherfucker, bro. And that ain't the first motherfucker I heard say that. You know what I'm saying? Like, AB can punch. Like, yeah, I needed to hear for a little bit. I ain't saying like nothing about like they ducking him out, like, and for sure that's not Boots himself saying him the contract. That's these shiesty ass, you know what I'm saying, people on the team that's like, oh, we can line them up real quick, because you know what I'm saying, he dropped AB, knocked his tooth out, he had a little heat right then. You throw him up there with Boots right now, Boots clip his ass, Boots take all this heat and springboard. He said no.
But I'm glad. See, that's real talk, because I was like, man, I thought at first when I was looking at it, I said that ain't right, man. You can't be over here saying this and then go over there and say that. But what you saying that makes sense. And see, that's the real boxer talk. That's when you have all the information. You don't be emotional, and you say what it really is. Now I can believe that. That sounds believable. But the way it was made to seem, because an amplifier got behind it, and the narrative now is all of a sudden he said that he don't want no fight with Boots right now. Like, that's all they deducted from it, and that's an amplifier. Like, they're amplifiers. I was like, that don't make sense after what I seen the other day. I was like, man, Boot, I seen him. I was watching it. I said, man, Blair looked comfortable. You know, he was reasonable. He was personable. I was like, man, he was funny. You know, he's a real genuine guy. Everything he said makes sense. And then the next day, they made it seem like, oh, he just don't want Boots. I'm like, no, what he said was he want a proper camp. He don't want to be blindsided. He don't want no short notice, and he want the bread to be right. I'm like, that sounds reasonable.
Now, what I was told, right, because I was talking with somebody that, you know what I'm saying, been helping me out a little bit. He was like, yo, they blocking your shit. They blocking your interview because he already done said that, you know, the McDonald niggas is a plant. And he just, you know what I'm saying? They blocking your shit because your interview, he said way more shit. And on homeboy shit, like, if you look at it like, yo, bro, I get that you lounging out at the pool area, but have a little bit of respect for your guests, my nigga. You just laid back with the shades on.
I've been told you that, though. I've been told you. See, people be thinking I'm a hater, but that guy used to hit me up all the time. And then when I said I ain't really want to like lock horns like that, that's when he started showing that other side of where I'll be doing all the material, and then he'll get the guy on the interview and then ask everything that I said in mine. I'm like, well, I'm doing your job for you. Like, what good is that? Like, yeah, you can get the guy, but you using my shit to ask the interview. That's why I said I don't rock with it. I seen it. I had an opportunity to get down with Buddy. I had seen it beforehand. That's why I said I don't want to lock horns. So I already knew what they were doing to you. This is what I would try. This is what I be trying to tell you behind the scenes, so that we stay straight on what I do and how I am, because I got pure energy, dog. I ain't on no bullshit. Like, and I didn't like that, and I already knew what they were doing to you. I said this is just to put a eclipse on my man's interview. I was like, because it's very ironic that the next day this is the amplifier behind it, and I know what I saw the day before. But this is what I've been trying to tell you behind the scene, where I say, look, man, if we're gonna walk, we gotta walk right, because it's already hard enough that you're gonna have that.
Yeah, that one right there, like that one got like that one. I was kind of like, well, god damn. I was like,
That's
well,
what it is. That's what I was trying to tell you the whole time. What's been happening to me. And so as you get into that, just know that that's going to come. That's going to be there, because they can't allow who they deem as, you know, however they deem it, to shine. They're going to have to snuff it out before it catch fire and it really started to grow and bloom.
Yeah,
that's why amongst ourselves, the little guys, we got to keep it right and exact and pure, because we already got too many outside forces that don't want to see it grow.
Yeah.
So
that's what I took away from.
I said, man, they did my man dirty, but I didn't want to hit you up and say it, because it seemed like I'm trying to put, you know, I'm trying to add fuel to and I'm not. I'm just stating the obvious. That's why sometimes when I hit you up behind the scenes, I'm like, hey, look at this. It's not because I'm hating, it's because I see it, because so many of them did it to me. Like ProBox did it to me tonight. The exact same time they did this the last time. That's why I stopped going live like that, because they'll wait and they'll do that. And I'm like, well, man, it's enough for all of us to eat. Like, I'm just going to put my blue magic. We all got the same work. I'm just going to put my blue magic. Why are you hating on me? This is going to happen, dog. That's why at the lower level where we're at, we can't have none of that bullshit, because they already going to do it to us. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I was talking shit though, because I was like, I know when it's kind of a, you know, okay, he got the channel or the platform, but look at his interview, look at my session, because this ain't my first time with Blair, and I know that Blair wants to smoke. You see how like he like just like when you hit me, you was like, yo man, he look mad comfortable. Yeah, because this ain't our first go round. It ain't forced. It ain't like just trying to do something because an event coming up and you want to act like just because you want. He was the only box you could get there on at the time. Like, nah, nigga, like you don't even know who he trying to fight next or like none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, I was like, yeah, when I did mine, I was like, and then you see how long he was on, a few hours. You know what I'm saying? Just kicking the shit.
Wrong.
So it's like, I know y'all want to suppress and kick me off the algorithm, but I got a plan for that. Don't even worry. I've been sitting back thinking about it. Don't even worry. But I was like, yeah, because you can go back and watch this shit and just say whatever. You know what I'm saying?
But I've been seeing it, and I'm not sure why people didn't really see this. And I'm just glad that I just wait. I just wait and watch and let time go by, because time shows everything. And this is what I was saying. I remember a time when it was like I'll do something because Subriel is my guy, Tank is my guy. So I'll be doing my little thing, doing this. Now my Tank stuff done went down because people ain't gonna look to me for Tank, because too many people done hijacked that lane. But I used to be the one that used to put that shit out, and everybody either take bite, or I'll be the initial guy. But since I was small, they'll take the bits and pieces and then boom. So I said, man, I can't do that just with Tank. I was like, I gotta be more comprehensive. So when I got into the Subriel bag, he started doing the same thing. So I was like, that's interesting. But I looked at it. If you realize it, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he did his stuff, he would be with this coach. Then he would be with that coach. Then he'll be with this coach, and then he'll bring this other guy on to bring with this coach. It was just like, okay, cool. So you in there like somewhere. But when you look down at what happened with the fight, where did he go? He didn't go over there where Tank was. He went over there where Subriel was. And I try to tell him all the time, I was like, man, they're going to show you where the true loyalty lies. But guess what happened? when he made that decision, when he left from over there on the Tank side and went over there on the Super Real side and went down there because he felt like that was his people. Well, when the verdict that was rendered, where did he go? Right back over there to what's the name? What do you hear? You don't hear all that stuff over there from Sabrina, but when it came down to war, where was he at? So that should show you everything.
Yeah,
and so that's pretty.
Yeah.
So when you got connections, and you doing your thing and you bubbling on the low and you working and you grinding and you putting in that daily whatever, keep these things in mind that people are. I've been telling you. I said, man, people, they watching. Man, I was like, man, they listening. Because there's some other things behind the scenes to where I'm like, ain't no way. It's some things that came up recently from some stuff we did a minute ago that people are diving into, and I'm like, these mother suckers, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because you know your stuff, you know your children, you know my DNA all in that, our DNA all in that. But if we come out and point it out, we'll be the sore loser saying, look, you can't. No, it's just not that. It's just that. Let's be real. But
on some real shit.
That's how it is.
Not lying.
Himself, and we ride with whatever wave it is, and however it's gonna, and that's just.
A manager told me that shit, bro. A dude, like a manager, got to be giving me a lot of gems, a lot of game, he giving me a lot of info. Remember when I was telling people that I was saying, yo, Berlanga gonna get that fight? I've been saying that shit for months, right?
Yeah.
The same dude, he was like, yo, you don't see it as, because I sit down and get the setup. But when we was doing that for a minute, I didn't look at it that way. When we was shooting the shit and just like, we out here brainstorming and saying common sense, niggas stealing our shit and that running content for weeks off of that shit. And when you sit there and feel like, well, I feel like this shit is damn, man, like he got this from somewhere. Because he got it from you. He got it from me. He got it from whenever, like, we were sitting there, like, they watching like a motherfucker.
The Jared Edison stuff, that whole conversation and the whole next big, they jumped right on that. I said, man, because I already know they watch me. I busted Algieri. I busted Algieri when I did my take on Bam, and then he took it. So now, Paulie and Algieri, they've been taking turns doing it. But I'm telling you, they watch, like when I was coming over there and doing whatever, they watch that, man. They just wait. They brainstorm, but then boom, they put it out and they disguise it as another title. And it's the same stuff. It's Ready Rock. It's Ready Rock. It's pre-mix.
Yeah.
But this is the last thing. Let me go. I'm gonna go down this real quick, man. Just so that everybody that's listening can actually know. Because this is actually a longer live, because I wanted to actually get into this. I'm gonna be doing more on the welterweights anyway, but I wanted to go over this. Let me see. I just want to go over this real quick. So this man right here, I don't care if you're a can or not. I don't care. 32-0 with 29 knockouts at a 90% knockout rate. He's been 106 rounds with 33 bouts. He's 27 years old, 5'10 with a 74-inch reach. He's fighting under IBF, which means that even though he's considered a big guy, and you can see by the poster they use of his face that he's a bigger guy, he's still fighting under the IBF, which means that he knows that unless it's a unification, he can only rehydrate 10 pounds, which means that, yeah, he's a bigger guy, but he can still make the weight and not be suffering because he's only limited to going back up 10 pounds. That's what makes anybody that fights under IBF non-unification bout special. This is why I said they kind of deserve special credit. Now in the WBA, they're moving to a 12-pound, so then you can actually consider that they are actually a little bit more professional, a little bit more in shape, and kind of more in the confines, because we heard it earlier today that Steven So Cold Nelson, he'll go up 25 pounds too. So it's not uncommon. It's not uncommon, but At the same time, you gotta respect a guy that can do that. So everybody's pushing for the envelope for him to go to 54 now, which I don't think would benefit him. I think because he's under the IBF, he's still in shape. He need to go ahead and try to clear out 47 and make 47 great again to either give another guy, one of these guys that's about to jump up in there at the last minute once he get ready to like unify it all, however this shakes out. Because we don't know. We can assume, but we don't know for sure. Like me, I thought I knew with the Bud Spence thing. I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I had a warm and fuzzy, but I was proven wrong. So we don't know what's going to happen. I think that the best thing for Boots right now, because he does have names. Some of them guys were really 140s going up to 47. And again, I put them all on the scale to where I say, look, if you haven't had if you've always had all the advantages, at my heart of hearts, I don't know what you are. The same scale I put Devin on. The same scale I put David Morrell on. The same scale I put all these guys on to where we don't know when they don't have the height, they don't have the reach, they don't have the size, they don't have the activity, they don't have the speed, they don't have the power. When some of those variables are mixed, where you don't have them all, we don't know what we're going to get, because then you also have to incorporate the style. I think that the best part or the most I think the best thing that Boots should do is do his thing at 47. As long as it don't take another 3 years. If it take 2 years and he locks it all up and get undisputed, it'll be well worth it. That way, when he move up to 54, he got some fruit salad on his chest, like the general. People can't deny him. They can't say, who have you fought? And by then, if he's already doing 14K plus in his backyard in Philly, man, he's gonna be where he need to be, to where the high risk, low reward. Even though I think that it's kind of tilted now. I don't think that the reward is as low, because they can set those prices to where you can get your bag if you're gonna be the opponent. You're not just coming in to get beat to sleep for peanuts. Like, you actually gonna get some change to get in there. So I think people are gonna be more willing to fight him. But he fought David Avanesian, who's 30-4, Roman Villa 20-1, Karan 21-1, who only lost to Boots, Custio Clayton, he was 19-0-1. Now he has a loss. Thomas DeLore 25-5. Lipinets, which we don't know. Lipinets was one of them 40s that moved up. Chris Van Heerden, I think he was a little inactive before that. Carlos Abreu, he's still a name. But he had some names. They might not have been Class A names, but they were common opponents, which people don't recognize triangle theory. But he had some common opponents with some other guys that they were suitable when those guys fought him. It should be suitable when Boots fought him. But that's Boots' resume.
Well, you know what I feel about Boots. I said something about Boots. People think that, I don't know how people can, like, because some people be like, oh, I'm a Boots linker, and then some people be like, I'm a Boots hater. I like, in 2 years, let's say your theory goes through in 2 years, right? And he can collect all the belts. By the time he get to 54, who's gonna be there?
I don't know, because 54, I don't know, but I don't want to. I don't like looking at it like that though, because I don't like looking at it like that, because one thing can change, man. It's just like Fundor and Zoo. Like, I think that Zoo was the benefit of. He was really the benefit of somebody saying they would fight him. Like, when you look at Zoo, like that's why I think. I'm gonna put it like this. When this dude Bohachuk, when he fought Mendoza, that was devastating to a lot of people, because a lot of people were looking at Mendoza like, oh man, that's Mendoza. But Mendoza got beat down by Tim Tszyu, but then also before Mendoza, now he did get the knockout where he sat Fundora down on his back pockets, where he was sitting there talking to us like, what? Hold on, I'm still good. He was talking to us, but Up until that point, Fondor was beating him to sleep.
Yeah,
But,
he was. He was.
but we have to realize this, and I think this is what people forget about 54. 54 was much like how I say 40 is, where on any given night, like 54 is that kind of division, where on any given night, you know what I'm saying? If somebody got your number, or if that's that style, or one little mistake, it's a wrap.
Yeah,
so
you're not lying.
you know what I'm saying? So I think 54 is gonna be competitive as long as it don't happen like with what happened with 60, and how 60 just became a desert, and it wasn't really nobody that was looking to really move up, because everybody that was at that size, they either want to cut weight and make a fight with somebody else who they know struggling with weight. So it ain't gonna really be no real mismatch. I think that 54 has enough, it's enough, what they call it, disparity. It's enough competition at 54 to where it's gonna be all right. And then with people cinching down at 47, moving up, or for whatever reason they don't want to be down there in the hot fire on D block, they're gonna choose to fight above it. I think that it's gonna be all right for a couple years, unless what happened at 60 happened.
But I think that West, a lot of them guys that, because a lot of the guys we talking about at 54 eventually gonna end up at 60.
So yeah, it's gonna be some spillover. So 60 might have a resurgence.
It may. So with me, I'm like, if I was Boots, and he's gonna grow in 2 years, he'd be 29. I wouldn't even like. I may have like one little step over fight at 54, maybe, I don't know, but like at that point, that man gonna have that man gonna have a growth spurt where he gonna be like 160 ain't gonna be nothing for Boots. Like being at 147 for too long, don't kill yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because when I look back at it, we did have some great fighters at 147 that stayed there too long. Keith Thurman stayed at 147 too long.
Yeah, back when he said he didn't know who Boots was, that's when he made his mistake. When he said he didn't know what he was, I was like, man, come on.
No, I'm talking about, remember when he started getting the injuries and shit? That come from your big ass blowing up to 190, 200 pounds. And then in 8 weeks trying to get that shit down. And after a while, your body and your metabolism don't burn off like, because you ain't a young buck no more like that. Just being real.
I know, shoot.
You know what I'm saying? Me too. So I'm like, when you fucking, your body breaking down, you taking supplements to try to get down to this weight and get skinny, and then you bloom back up, and then and motherfuckers punching you all in between that shit. Man, nah, man. You got to be at a healthy weight. He should now, because he was going to fight at 147 before he got hurt? Or was it fight going to be at 54? He was trying to get a fight at 54.
I think it was going to be 54.
See? And look where Danny Garcia comes back after 2 years of inactivity. And where's Danny Garcia at?
He at 160, but he don't got no business up there, man. I'm gonna make some bread that night. He don't have no business at 160.
Now, what you think now? I'm just saying, if Boots was getting a shot at Elisari Lara, would you feel a little bit more comfortable?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying when I say Boots can go. If he would jump the curve, if he don't feel like waiting at 147, he would jump the curve and go to 160. All these boys are gonna have to see him eventually.
They would, but this the thing. This is the same thing at 54. Until he becomes like, is it bad? They're gonna use the same excuse. Like, they're gonna use the same excuse on him because he's a tough out. Like, that's why I say, man, they're not scared, but like until he becomes Z-bag, they're not gonna fight the dude, man. They're gonna say, oh man, because listen, this is my point. I'm gonna prove my point right here.
Go ahead.
Sugar Shane Mosley Jr. People still, like, he's still saying, okay, well, he'll take a Danny Jacobs but then he wouldn't want to. I'm gonna just make up a hypothetical. Let's just say he won't take a Munguia or a Belonga for a Canelo. So it's like if you're talking about Sugar Shane, he was on the little boxing series. He done shared the ring with all these guys. Like, think about all the names. Now he got some names now. He got a Danny Jacobs. So now you gotta think they play that name game. Well, who did you fight? Oh, that was down there. So he's gonna have to risk somebody getting on there to where even that person that's gonna get on there when they know they can't fuck with him, they're gonna have to pay him an absorbing a bag. They're gonna have to pay him an absorbing bag just to get in the ring with him, just so he can get that name. So it's like right now, it's almost like he didn't. You know how they say past the point of no return?
Yeah.
That's where Boots is at. It's like you done went so far down this road,
Yeah.
to where to turn back would be a longer, harder route than for you to go forward. So he need to move forward with.
You saying that is crazy, and he only 30 steps in on passing no return, and it's gonna be harder to get back than it was
Right.
to get all the way over there.
Right, because even at 54, because I was saying, okay, cool. Because I said it a year ago. I said, now if you'd have did it a year ago, where you would have lined up somebody like a Lubin who would have fought you, and that would have been a tough test.
You'd have jumped the curve.
Because now even if he go up there to 54, Lubin gonna be looking like, well, what did you do?
Exactly.
Well, I need this. And it's like, well, come on, man. I'm the name. I'm the young up and comer. Just like when Mel set Lubin in his place, he pushed him back because Lubin was the uprising guy. They're gonna be looking at Boost with like, nah, that bag ain't big enough, because if I lose to this guy, people gonna be like, man, I've been washed. So he's right there to where the best thing for him to do is go ahead and fight and collect the belt. Get a home, keep putting on these devastating knockouts, and then unify. Devastating knockout, unify. Like until he sew it up. That way when he move up, or if he decide to jump, he'll have the accolade to where people say, hey man, because right now, every time somebody mention Boots, they say, what has he done in the sport? I'm like,
yeah. Now see, that's because now here's the thing with me though. If he jumps, right, because this is just me spitballing. I don't think Janabek is going to be at 162 much longer. You feel me?
You don't think what?
I don't think that Janabek is going to be at 162 much longer.
But see, but the thing is, I don't think that they're going to treat Boots like, look, his skill set is high enough to where I could lose this fight, but what would I get if I win?
No, I think those belts are about to be up for grabs. Because if you remember, when Tevin Farmer fought, they were supposed to be the co-main. But Janabek got hospitalized from dehydration. They tried to downplay that shit, niggas. They ain't talking about it like that because 160 is a weak division. You see what I'm saying? It's so weak that a name like Danny Garcia can get a title shot out of nowhere. I definitely know that. I feel like that Boots, with the traction that he got, could definitely go for an IBF or a WBO title at 160 easily. They're gonna be begging to put that one of those belts on somebody.
That's but I think I think look, I think he on the right track because you gotta think about it. With the IBF, he already defended it. He got his bag, and then he paid. Because I'm starting to look at it now, and where it's like when I be asking, do belts matter? It's like as far as politics, like no, they'll make it. But this the thing: when you have a belt, you're in essence you're paying your dues, and that's really what gets you to be able to make the move. Because if the belt around your waist is equating me to be able to do this, I'm more likely to enforce this or do that. Now we've seen that in the business about because people separate talent and who should fight aside from the business. So I think that at the end of the day, he could make some move like that. I just think that the way his team is looking was like, look, man, we missed out on Spence and Bud. Now we got to lock this down so that the whole "what have you done in the sport" thing can't be used against us. I think he just paid his first sets of dues by defending it. You know, Eddie going to get somebody else on the plate for him. He's going to defend it again. You're going to have another hometown outing. And that's going to be a venue to where, like, look, is it going to be at your place or my place? Because if it's at my place, I can guarantee you X, Y, and Z. And now I'm more than just an ass whooping waiting to happen or an exposure, but at least you're going to be able to, I can substantiate that you're going to be able to get a bag because now I have dance partners.
But I'm telling you, but see, the same way you say with the politics, right? These guys are going to be trying to get as much money as possible. Like, and they're not going to, some, like, I don't see a lot of these guys just handing their belts over to Boots instantly, bro. And you know that.
No, they're not.
You
They already talking like it. I already deciphered through the language. They're not.
They're not. And I ain't even gonna say it's the fighters, it's the managers, it's the promoters. Like, listen, let's get some money out of them first. Let's get a couple title defenses so when they clash, we can make it something and not just be like your fight is a throwaway if Boots goes out there and puts a damn show on their damn ass. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, in this 2 years, right now, Boots has, in my opinion, this is how I'm looking at it. At 27, it's gonna take about, because you got to fight, heal, fight, heal, fight, heal. In between those fights, are those unifications or are they just title defenses? And then you're gonna come to a point where I'm gonna go to 54, and as soon as you get to 54, again, you're gonna be on the ass end of grabbing at something. Them guys are gonna be going to 60. Where I'm looking at it is that, and even the boxers are saying that Janet Beck gonna be going to 68. They all say that. Those two belts about to be up. Laura can't fight forever. Carlos Adames is right for the picking. That's just me, though. You feel me? That's just me.
I mean, I see it. I see it. I just think that I'm looking at it like, man, it makes sense either way. It's a gamble. It's a gamble either way, but I see how Brian Norman and them is thinking, and I'm looking at how everything is because everybody looking at what happened to Earl, and they don't want to say nothing. But Earl went out and got 3 straps, and after the ass whooping, everybody act like he didn't do shit. People like, oh, shit, damn, this man went out and shit. He struggled, he stayed, he collected it. He got 1 stone away from having them all and got his pack busted, and he don't get the same respect. So, you know, we just seen what happened with Pitbull, and Ryu boxed his ears off, and now it's like people are going to be looking at it like, because it's the same thing like T.O., he ain't in no rush to go up there and see Brian Norman Jr.
He said he would.
And he ain't, listen, he ain't even in no rush to go up there and see Boots. For real. He pulling the friend stuff. He pulling the, well, we won the Nationals and what, 2015, we won the Nationals together, and you know, we shared a moment, and I'm like, nah, G, you know what I'm saying? If you know, you chasing the big dog. Because at first I was with it, I was like, by definition, as far as what he's been able to accomplish, he has a right to. Now, would that be beneficial? Hell no. You know what I'm saying? By the letter of the law, you got every right to. Would that be a good idea? Hell no. You already got mental issues. Bud will slap you into oblivion, and it's not right. Now, you can do it because your accolades. If we're going by accolades, you can do it. But as far as skill-wise, you ain't ready. Like, if you went like that with Steve Claggett, you ain't ready. So he's not even trying to see Boots. That's why I say the people that's coming up that could see him, they don't want to see him. The people that's on this level, They don't want to see him. The people that's gonna go up gonna look at him like, what did you do? He has to make it to where either A, he uses IBF and then latch up, and then uses IBF and then latch up. That's the only way to be able to do it.
Now, on some, the guy that Keyshawn fought, wasn't that the guy that fought Steve Claggett?
Yeah.
Who had a better performance?
Probably I would say entertainment wise, the Keyshawn fight, because that has some wrestling, that has some, and it was Keyshawn. Keyshawn is must see TV. You don't care because you don't know what he's gonna do and how he's gonna act. You see the skills, So the entertainment value was this, but scorecards, man. Steve Claggett beat the crap out of that guy. Like Steve Claggett put hands and feet on that guy. You know what I'm saying? Just the performance with Keyshawn was more entertaining.
Yeah.
But that's why I say this is where people like Keyshawn, they won't hear all my praises, and they'll hear me say something like what I'm about to say right now. This is why you can't be playing around. And when you heard Bud, right after that, the first thing I heard Bud say when he was talking to Andre Ward, he said, "Don't play with your food, boy."
Word.
That's why I be trying to say, like, see now if Keyshawn would have like flatlined them, finished them,
been different story.
It'd be a different story. You know what I'm saying? That's that
Yeah.
next level to where it's like you can't be denied. Like right now, you still at the mercy of somebody giving you a shot. But when you go in there and you stop people done went, like, this guy put hands and feet in there on him. Yeah. I stopped him. I ended the contest. I did what I needed to do. So it's like, it's just that it's not that we disappointed in the performance. You did a great performance. It was entertainment. That was must-see TV. You can go back and watch that fight and be like, dang, Keyshawn was wilding. Just finish him next time. It's not all about that, but finish him to where now you can say, huh?
Like, you know what? I hate to say this shit, but the slick black fighter, goddamn, admires his work too much.
Yeah.
Just get him out of there.
You get caught up because you don't. I think sometimes they have a plan and they know that, okay, cool, unless he makes me do this, but it's not calculated. Like it's just like playing chess. Mm-hmm. Look, it's just like playing chess with no clock versus playing chess on the clock. So if you have a plan to where it's like, look, we got 36 minutes to do this, right?
Yes.
In 9 minutes, in the first 9 minutes, I give myself 9 minutes to make it look like this dude don't need to be in here. At that point, I'm gonna give him a chance to make an adjustment, and once he making his adjustment, I'm gonna give another 6 minutes for when he makes his adjustment. I'm gonna make my adjustment, and then 6 more minutes, I'm gonna end it. But it ain't no real plan. It's just like, oh, okay, hold on. I got him. He ain't gonna make me do nothing. I can do whatever I want on this guy. And then next thing you know, you creeping down in the 11th. You might have got tired because he did some extra shit in the beginning. It was the same thing I was saying about Jahai that time. He did some extra shit when he picked him up and he used his legs. I'm like, because you thinking you're gonna get him out of there. But when you get to like that 7th, 8th round, and he done got you one of them gut punches and caught you, you're like, oh shit, hold on. He got me there. Hold on, let me back up, use my legs a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Let me get, let me get my stick back out there a little while and run around. And then next thing you know, you running out of time. When if you focused and said, look, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna get him over there, I'm gonna get him here. I see his adjustment, I'm gonna make an adjustment on that. Now I'm gonna end it. Now it's a whole different conversation. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. So I think Keyshawn, he right there. But T.O. don't want to fight Keyshawn. T.O. claiming he won Bud, but I think that more and more I look at it now, it's more like just a payday, man. Because
it's a payday.
T.O. ain't mentally prepared for what Bud would do to that man.
If you're Bud, right, and the internet, the internet is forever. There's no way Bud's gonna fight you, bro, when you ran from Keyshawn, and that's the same camp. You ain't even take care of little bro yet. We talking about you. You just don't come fuck with King Jaffe Jofa. What's wrong with you?
But that's the new pattern though. That's a new pattern I'm seeing is that people are chasing some people that they know they're not going to get, just so that when they say I'm gonna take this one, it's acceptable. Because I'm really chasing this guy, and I'm like, that's what we need to fix.
Man,
Because
because
Theo can call Bud all day long, knowing that he ain't gonna fight him, and then pick a Claggett, and people will say, well, shoot, he chasing Bud, but then you pick a Claggett. You know what I'm saying? It's like that don't match.
that name
Like
don't even
tell
right.
Bud, hey, I want you, and this I'm about to put your young pup on notice. And when I do this to your young pup, I'm gonna make you mad enough for where you gonna want to come get your get back, and I'm gonna fuck you up. That'd be some spicy shit, and then go out there and do that.
Do that. But if you can't do that, like you sat there and copped the plea with Keyshawn. You copped the plea with
Keyshawn would have to act right too, to where if T.O. grabbed his nuts, Keyshawn can't be like, oh man, ain't enough money. They didn't want to send me this. No, Keyshawn need to grab on and be like, look, man, as far as money bag, as long as my expenses and a little bit more than what I normally get is there, I'm gonna put an example of him, because once I do that, I could demand a Tank fight. Because look at what I did. I knocked T.O. the fuck out. Now I want you, Tank. That's how I think. You know what I'm saying? But the way I present shit and the way I go at it and I analyze everything, you would think I'm hating, or I'm like, nah, it's just an order and a protocol to where it makes sense. Because I can't see how some people do this activity and then they say they want that, and I'm like, hold on, man, you switching it up now. You know, that's just where we at, man.
I'll be real with you, right? I'll be real with you. 4 a.m, Crush texts me. I guess he's working overnight. Man, ain't no goddamn dog. What the hell you talking about? Blah, 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 blah.
He said what?
Talking about, he said, Blay. He said, man, Blay, ain't no star. I guess he finally watched the live or something. And he just started spazzing. I was like, yo, bro, listen, I'm fucking with, like, listen, don't think Boots can't fight. But the same way that you think that when you watch these guys that push no needle, like if they saying that Bud just blah, 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 blah. Bud ain't got nobody to fight but T.O. or Boots. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If I come out here and push a narrative and have the fighter up here saying, well, Black Hobb been chasing Boots, and Boots ain't got nobody on his resume like that, and him and Black Hobb basically got the same damn resume. Maybe Black got a better resume. Bro, if you go check the comments that Crush left, I was like, yo, Crush. See, you can dish it, but you can't take it. You know what I'm saying? Because they all professional fighters. If you say Stanionis, oh, who is Stanionis? What do you mean, who is Stanionis? What do you mean? He's a fucking champion over here. Like he put in work. Like he's in the division right now. What do you mean, who is Stanionis? He's I don't want to fuck his name up, but bro, we've been saying we want to see that fight for a while. Conor Ben, all this other shit. But damn, we can't say nobody, right? So hold on. How about Mario Barrios? Who is Mario Barrios? He got knocked out by Tank.
That's how it be.
I'm saying, like, and then you be like, you know, well, how about Brian Norman Jr.? Oh, he said he wanted to do. How do you know he said this? And then you said Mario Barrios about to have a baby, so he don't want to fight right now. How do you know? Like, who he told? Like, who told y'all that? Boots told y'all that? Barrios told y'all that? Who the fuck told you? So if you say anything about, listen, Boots chasing a man in another division, but his biological father. Most people don't understand that his biological father, man that had him and his brothers, all of that, said we gonna collect the belts at 147. Why you no needle narrative pushing niggas trying to push this shit? There's no, you feel what I'm saying? And if y'all want to, and then they get mad at me for saying he can go to 160, jump the curve, or there's 5 people he can fight in that division that you're gonna give him credit for. Hold on, I'm lying. 4. 3 of them are champions, and 1 of them is kind of big. Anybody else he fight, we're gonna be like, okay, well, we know he's gonna whoop him, but what did he whoop him for? Like, did he whoop Stanley Jones and get the belt? Did he whoop Norman and get the belt? And he's going to go undisputed for legacy at 20. Like, what are we talking about? If they throw him somebody we ain't never heard of, that's another one. You're gonna be like, come on, man. Like, how many showcase fights Boots gonna get where he out here slipping niggas punches and shit like look like Expendables movies and shit like that. He looking at niggas punches with the Matrix, like that's what you're going. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
Yeah, but see, that's the whole thing with Eddie. That's why I said, man, like the plan, because a lot of these guys, man, I'm starting to see now, man, and I can't knock them. I'm a working man.
Yeah,
I'm a working man. So, I mean, if that's what you do for a living, it at the end of the day, it really is for a bag, because at the end of the day, really, one punch, ducking into an uppercut like Big Baby did with Bacoli. That's it. Like, that could be that could be the beginning of the end. So, when you sign with Eddie, man, that plan got to be immaculate, because you already know, man, he's signing you up for you to get the big bag, man, and promote you, man. And then it's almost like, man, you got six bullets for that revolver, man. And that's it. It's a zombie. They coming in. They done already broke through the window. You in the bathroom. You got 6 shots.
You better figure it out.
When you knowing that going in, you gotta have an escape route. Like, you gotta know, okay, shit. Hey, I done shot 2 of these things. I only got 4 left. I might have to jug this one and sever his neck off, because I can't waste the bullet on this one. But that's what it is about the bread, man. Like, in as fans, I hate that we get played and sometimes we get put against each other because of politics, when we all really want the same thing. You know,
Bro, you know how
and at the end of the day, I think I said this before a while ago on your channel. I know I said it before when you was over on my channel. I was like, man, a lot of the times, man, these guys, I'm talking about even outside promotional boundaries, these guys know the full plan and we don't. And they play us, man. They play us. They be knowing, man. They be knowing that, look, this guy and this guy ain't gonna be until the fall of 2025. But they have carte blanche to be able to go out and say anything and act like that shit gonna happen at the beginning of next year, and it's not.
It's not.
And then the fans, we be ready to drop your location then. Oh, you know what I'm saying? I'll bust, like, and it's like, it ain't even that serious, because they already know way ahead of us. They just play us and we buy into it. Sometimes we be like, hold on, man, I ain't gonna be mad at my guy for that, because my own guy was sending mixed signals.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. What I've been getting and what I've been seeing, and we may be able to make a comeback, but we just gotta keep doing what we doing and not worry about the phony balonies that got the blown up numbers. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll be real with you. Last year, I went on a whole rant about numbers. And I think, some people may have caught on like, listen, you got 70, 80, 90,000 subs. Your live's only doing this numbers, and through the whole while you're only doing this numbers. That's bullshit. Right there, we're reaching at least 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% of your audience right now, and then the playback is going to be different, and those are real numbers. So, I just like salute the guys that really be talking that shit and really be and stay in their lane and not try to act like they something that they not for the scam.
That's all you can do, man. Like I said, I call it putting stakes in the ground, man. But we all get the same work. It's all in how you know what I'm saying? Like, think about it, man. Everything, man. Same shit they selling at 7-Eleven, they selling at the BP or the Circle K. It's the same candy bars. It's different rates, different work, how you package it. Think about it. They sell us the same shit. They put it in different packages. Oh, these is 5-minute grits. These is old fashions. It's like either way you gotta know how to cook with. We getting the same shit. It's just how you whatever cut you put. Like some people is you know what I'm saying? They cutting it 8 times. They doing drive-bys and dropping it off after they didn't cut it 8 times.
8, man.
Some people just getting it, and because they consistent, ain't no cut. Is you know what you gonna get? It's gonna come. You know what I'm saying? You know your man's gonna have it every time you need it, and that's it.
Oh boy, that's why I just try to make sure that a safe grown man space for boxing.
You doing good. I see you coming up. I see you growing, and you got people, you got regulars and stuff, and that's the thing, consistency. So keep putting in that work. I know you're gonna get a couple more interviews, and when you gonna have Jahar on there?
I'm at to work on that one, and she was good because price done went up because you see his little brother over there with giving the Grady twins work. I don't know if you've seen that.
He where?
He was just down there in Houston. Jahar's little brother, Marley. He's number one in the nation. He was just down there in Houston giving the Grady twins some work because they got fights coming up.
Them little dudes, I've been watching them for like 2 years now. Them little dudes is serious, man.
I've been watching them since they was small and they was giving each other, they was hitting the pads with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been on them. So like, but what I'm saying is that Jihad little brother was just, and he's only 16. He was giving them, you know what I'm saying? So for me to get Jihad on, I'm gonna have to holler at you. I'm gonna get my visuals and effects and everything together, make sure.
Listen,
Yeah.
You just gotta tell them the difference between us and them is like, look, man, we ain't gonna, the shit that I know the shit that I mainly me. The shit that I'm doing is I'm not railroading nobody into no messy stuff, like no drama. Like we just want like 15 minutes, like just 15 minutes to sit down and talk it like you talking to your homeboy who been seeing you progress, gonna ask you some shit that's gonna either make you look good or let people know something interesting about you. But the climate right now in the business is to where they want to get you to give that juicy, that salacious. Well, that's not really what resonates with a lot of people, man.
No, it's not.
Why? Because you gotta live up to that shit. When people pull that out and you present this we not trying to do that. We just trying to figure out like, hey man, hey, what's your favorite punch? Like, why you like this shit? Like, how did you know? Like the shit that like people be like, damn, I ain't know about them. Like, a lot of people don't know Virgil is a musician.
You know what?
Like,
Before I get Jihad on, I'll try to get Joe on.
His coach.
His father is head trainer, lead trainer, but like Joe actually fought. Yes, salute Al Money.
Salute Al Money, man. Appreciate it, man. Al Money be always coming in with the $2 jizzies. You know what I'm saying?
Al Money always.
I appreciate you, man.
But I kicked it with Joe one time, and Joe was just like, at first, because fighters are different. Joe was reluctant to be just giving these kids all his game. You know what I'm saying? But eventually, you gotta take baby steps before you start running it, and he started letting it go because I mean this guy used to beat up Zab Judah. This is real shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I sat and kicked it with him at Applebee's. No, I'm lying. Fridays in Central Iceland, right across the street from my pop. I sat over there and kicked it with him, bro, having a few drinks, like, and just sitting there kicking it with Joe. And he was like, yo, he's like, yo, and the way, like, make sure you tell him. Yeah. I was like, I got no problem with that joke. I know you'll punch me in the stomach, make me shit on myself if I don't. And when go ahead.
Keep working on it, man. Because
I work on it.
Because you just gotta hit home that, man. Like a lot of people I see, the best part of the shows be the interviews.
Yes,
because you get to see into the boxer, and it's not all the politics of how everybody want to maneuver, and then it's organic because whatever kind of energy is going to resonate with the fans that hear how you are, as long as you being yourself. This is like me. I'm not for everybody. I put myself in the Lloyd Banks. Lloyd Banks ain't trying to be Drake.
Yeah, I'm trying to move.
But every time he come out, people who rock with Lloyd Banks or Jada, whenever they come out, they gonna rock. Like, they not trying to be Drake. They're not trying to be Kendrick. They're not trying to be Nicki. They not that's not what it and with these guys, man, especially in the industry. I know they got their high guard up. Like, everybody trying to get that juicy salacious. Everybody ain't trying to get that. Some people just want to be like, hey man, what caused you to box? What's your backstory, Holmes? Like, what should somebody know about you that they don't know? And that's what's going to resonate, because it's a young boy that's dealing with it or seeing it or see it the same way. And that might be just them hearing you say whatever it is on that interview is going to give them that extra, to run that extra hill, jump them rope for extra 20 minutes to do whatever they do to push them over the hump, and you putting back fresh water back into the pond. Everybody ain't trying to look and trying to pit you against that one and do this one and make it seem like, you know what I'm saying? But they got their guards up. And I understand, because that's the climate right now, but that shit is going to come to it's going to come to an end. I already see people changing their ways slowly but surely.
Oh, most definitely.
They ain't making no declarations like that, but they like, oh, hold on. I can't do it like this, because you can't play that game where you just jumping and jumping and jumping.
I'll tell you something, some real shit. My line, like, I had an interview, and then
what's up, fam? What's up,
AJ?
What's going on?
Salute, AJ.
Salute. What happened is that we let you I was on somebody else's channel. I was waiting for him to hit me and tell me that about going live on the interview. And he seen me on, I'll go ahead and say it, because I don't give, you know what I'm saying. But he seen me on somebody else's channel, you know what I'm saying. Somebody you don't get along with. So they pulled up over there, and I didn't know. I was like, oh shit, like. I was like, why you pull up over here instead of hit me on the phone? You know what I'm saying? I got my phone right in front of me. So when he pulled up over there, he kind of like hit me with some shit like blah, 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 blah. But lately, we've been talking, and, you know, maybe I could, because the interview is not going to come cheap and for most people. But me, I may be able to, you know, get a discount on this one. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, because, you know, I'm not going to front. They kind of up right now. And they got the island on the, like, you know, the island, you know, pushing strong, like they kind of up. And Jahal been in Houston last maybe 6 to 8 weeks. Just getting crazy work in Houston for his upcoming fight next week for Beck City.
Well, we'll talk behind the scenes about what it'll take with it, because that's what, you know, I wouldn't mind talking to him, man. But I understand why they got their guards up. Just know that it's all
definitely they got
in the long haul, man. I know whatever I get involved with or touch, man, it's gonna prosper, man. Because I ain't into railroad nobody and really like just tanking nobody and doing all that, man. But the game is kind of messed up because that's what everybody think they need in entertainment. You know what I'm saying? So it might be a little comfortable compromise, but shoot, if it's some numbers, then, you know, I mean, we got to meet the request to get what we want, because everybody else doing it. It's just we gonna play it in a different way to where it's gonna be better energy after the shit we do.
Yeah, because I mean, I was like, yo, you know, the organic shit, like, and now I get it. Just like I've been going back and forth with somebody. He was like, yo, listen, as much as organic you want to be, bro, you got to play their game. You can be organic, but you got to play their game, because they cheating and they don't even have the same level of
integrity
or what's that, or just common sense as you. They out here pushing the narrative for scam. They scam artists.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it just goes down to a level like, because I'm like, man, hell no, I ain't about to be paying for no bullshit. They was like, listen, you'll go way more viral than anybody else, and your numbers will actually be real.
Yeah, it's an investment. It's just, you know, yeah. We'll talk behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk behind the scenes about it. But let me get to AJ, man. It's my day one guy, man. What's on your mind, AJ, man? I thought you had left me, man.
The step back, man. It's like these YouTube, boxing, whatever, it's getting too crazy, man. Like, I listen to your videos, or I pop over to James shit or whatever, but listen to his shit. But bro, it's to the fact that you can't even like like the shit y'all talking about right now, right? It's impossible for you not to say it. So it was annoying. I was getting real annoyed. Like, I kept saying,
I can't hear you. I can't hear you, AJ.
what's happening?
All right, you back.
But yeah, though, it's just all the fake videos. I got fed up with fake videos, man. That's all it is these days.
But what in particular, man? Because since you don't do content, the shit that you got to say, because I put out something today and I said, man, you know, because I don't consider you a casual, but the fact that you don't do content like that, people will put you in that category. But your perspective is the most important perspective. So people need to hear what you had to say. Just like You were the main one that you were the first one, I would say, that was able to put into perspective what was going on between Tank and Devin. And you said, listen, man, they don't have the same fan base. Like, even though everybody conceptually, because all of the amplifiers had the microphones and they were controlling the narrative, people thought that they did. But you was the only one to say, listen, man, people gonna tune in the Tank because these guys is this and they doing this, they doing that. They ain't got time to be on here and all that. Oh, these guys, they got time all day. These are college students, people from the area, people that just want to see a young black man grow. It's a whole different demographic. You were the first one to be able to explain that night on my show, to where I'm like, that's what people need to hear. So for you to say, hey, I stepped back because I seen the fake video. You don't got to give names, but like, what was irritating you? Because the way you were was matching my energy. If you look at my video, look at how many videos I've been doing. Because I'm like, listen, man, if I ain't got nothing positive to say, I'm not going to say shit. Like, because I'm not just going to get on here and just drag nobody, because at the end of the day, I know that if you ain't able to box and feed your family, you're going to be trying to pop in my van or jump through my window or take my job. I want you to be successful. So I had to take a step back and listen and say, you know what, Mike, you don't know everything. Look at the landscape and look at how boxing is changing. So I haven't been doing many videos. I said I'm gonna go back to going live. People need to hear from you, since you took a step back. What was going on, AJ? And we can't hear you if you're talking.
Yeah, I can't hear him.
How about now?
Yeah. Now, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna step outside real fast. I'm at work. But y'all can hear me now, right?
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, like basically,
And he just went out.
Yeah, you went out again.
But I guarantee you, I know the videos he talking about, because you just see them shits when you just wake up and scroll down your timeline. When you look on, you be like, what the fuck is
But
this?
remember that day we was texting and you was like, man, check out such and such because he did this. I was like, man, I ain't been watching him. Like, that's how I am though. Like, when I say I ain't watching no more, I unsubscribe and I just won't watch no more. Like once you get, yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, all right, yeah, man, it's to the point, man. Like, y'all
Went out again.
They won't let you be great, AJ. They ain't trying to let you be great tonight, man. The powers that be.
I don't know what it is, but yeah, they yeah, it's a whole bunch of people that watch boxing now. If y'all don't know, you feel me? But what I was saying is, yeah, they don't have the same fan base. Look at Shakur. People say Shakur, Tank, and Devin. I'm out again.
Nah, you good. Keep going.
Oh, all right. Yeah, they say they got the same fan base, so they won't sell. The reason they won't sell is because they not gravitating towards their own fan base, bro. The black community is not just one big fan base. You got different, different sections.
Right.
As you can see with Shakur, Shakur damn near got the same fan base as Tank.
That's true. That's true. It's a East Coast thing. Devin got a totally different fan base. He's a West Coast kid.
Yeah.
And if Shakur wants to be, like, I'll be real with you, if he wants to like really corner his demographic, tri-state area, DMV, bro, you should be trying to corner like like all of the black and Puerto Ricans kind of together. The nigga Ricans is what is your fan base. That's what you need to be running with.
What I see with Shakur, man, and I'm like, I'm kind of, man, I'm sad, man. I'm kind of sad because I do not agree. I do not like this. I don't even think I know Shakur anymore, man.
He wants to be the villain, bro.
Wait, I'm like, man, you done took onto this role, and I know that's not you, but I know that you're doing it because you think that that's what's gonna get you there, and that's not it, bro. Like, he could continue to do the same thing he's doing on social media and be the same kind of person he is on social media. That's not gonna move the needle. Like, yeah, you got the attention, you got all the eyes, but at some point in time, people gonna look at your fights and be like, man, the dude, he got all the skills in the world, but he ain't gonna take no risk. Like, that's life, man. I don't care what the fuck it is. Like, when I used to play football, I knew I played one of the most dangerous. Like, I want you to hand me the rock, and I'm gonna get to the other side. And anybody with a set of hands, a set of feet, a set of knees is trying to knock my head off, and I'm still, every time you give it to me, I'm going to the other side. Like, I knew that, but I was willing to take the risk. I'm not like, just like running up, knowing you need 10 yards, and when you get to the 11th yard, you taking the slide. Like, in football, as Russell Wilson, that's good. In boxing, that's not. Like, and then every OG, everybody to try to say something to you, and that's the problem. Because I'm 43, I'm about to be 44 in December. So I'm like, look, bro, I was one of the ones that I like when the BFTBs, when he started the whole Shakira stuff, I was saying, listen, man, we don't call no grown men no female names. I was like, yeah, when he claimed he was Puerto Rican, I was the one saying, okay, he said his father was Puerto Rican. Okay, so what? Like, his father Puerto Rican, he's still black. Like, he still grew up wherever. Like, he still was
Carmelo
part of it. He had this many brothers and sisters. Like, what are y'all talking about? Like, I was trying to galvanize, and I always said, look, I got your back until it come down to a pick. So, like, until it's you versus him, then I got you. Like, when it was you and Devin, I got you. When it's you and Tank, I got Tank. Like, when it's you and Zapata, I got you. When it's you and Frank, I got you. Like, that's not good enough. But then after the fact, when you say, oh, man, they, you know, F them if they don't know, and you want us to go look up definitions of what it is, it's like, no, man, stop playing this, bro. We know what kind of cloth you cut from. So as an OG, I know how I grew up. I even not even how I grew up, outside of that, added on to that. When I was in the military, it was a standard. If your boots wasn't shined, your uniform wasn't pressed, your hair wasn't cut to the standard, your mustache wasn't where it needed to be, you couldn't have no goatee, your sideburns wasn't cut right, you're gonna make everybody look bad. It was a standard. So yeah, you could have got by on the standard to where you grazed by to where, like, by the letter of the law, you made it. But we know what you cut from. It's like my mom. My mom told me early in life, she said, you know what, Mike? You ain't allowed to have more than 2 C's. I'm like, huh? I was like, but C mean average. I'm not gonna be. I was like, I could be average in some things. She's like, yeah. She's like, in some things. She was like, but you are above average. So yeah, I'll take these 2 C's, no more than that, because you are above average. You getting average is letting me know that you're not even applying yourself, because you're way above this. That's stuff with me. So we know that's a good Stevenson is way above average. You just won't take no risk. But then even not as a pocket watcher, because I don't even care. I'm glad the dude getting $3 million. I'm glad that he got the endorsements. I'm glad. But as a Shakur Stevenson fan, knowing what he's capable of, you trying to tell me that you can go out there and because the dude hit hard, you ain't want to take no risk? Oh, because now when he didn't stand in front of you, he was running. But when you don't stand in front of your opponent, That's your biggest knock is that you running, even though from an educated eye as a boxing fan, I know you not running. But we talking about different standards now. We moving different goalposts now. Now you said you was gonna stop, buddy. Now you said you said before the fight you pulled a Devin Haney. Gamble, I'm gonna beat this boy worse than he ever did before. Oh, I'm gonna stop him. And then in between the 5th round, you said it. After the 6th round, you said it. After the 7th going to the 8th, you said I'm about to stop him. Your corner saying, man, stop this dude. You just seen what happened to Oshagi. Then after the fight, you say, oh man, if you can't appreciate what I did, then F you. Like what?
That dude want to be the villain, man.
You can be the villain, but I always say, I think I started this on your channel. I said, what villain do you know don't have the bombs or the guns to enact his villainhood?
That's true.
So that can resonate. And people say, oh man, on ESPN, he had the most views. He had 1 point. I said, yeah, because people tuned in and they bought into Shakur knowing what they seen from him before, believing that he had a hurt hand, that he was going to beat shit but down Buddy leg. And when that didn't happen, they were disappointed. And when they said something, but they tuned in because Shakur had a soul. He was going to beat the shit out of Haratunya.
Hey, Mike. He been doing millions of views on ESPN.
He been. That's why I said I was one of the ones saying, "Hold on, man, his viewership is there."
Yo, what is up with this?
His home crowd.
It's like they try to bring up stuff that been happening to show it to the fact. Look,
you went out. But I'm like, you know, the powers that be in the amplifiers in boxing right now have done a good job at taking away our critical thinking skills.
Yes, sir. And that's what I was getting to. That's why I stopped.
And I'll give you an example, right? Because I was like, man, I still think that Ness is the hardest working man in boxing, man. And it's a lot of shit that I look up to him and I admire him. It's a love-hate because, like, when I see him doing what he's doing, I understand why he doing it, but then I'm like, well, damn, for the hardcore, it's like, damn, that's fucked up. But then I had to salute him for being the hardest working man in boxing. Like, as far as boxing talk and all that, he is. Like, I gotta give it to him. So I've been watching. I said, look, man, shit, I ain't gonna fuck around with the sidebar guys. I'm gonna fuck around with that because shit, at least I can understand that, and at least the nutritional value in the interviews and shit is there. I can get that.
But
right.
for real, just take the Devin Haney propaganda out. It's a cool channel.
Right.
You feel me?
It is. That's what I was saying. So today, right, I was listening to people on this whole Shakur thing. And see, if you watch my channel, Aaron Jones, you already know that I'm probably the biggest Tank fan out there. You know what I'm saying? But I use facts to justify my shit. I don't jack for no bullshit. Like if it's some bullshit, I won't speak on it. Or when I do, I'll try to take the objective approach to the shit. Right? But I was listening to this whole thing and I'm like, hold on. If Loma said I'm taking time off to go see my family and I'm doing X, Y, and Z, but then I'm at this fight, before I seen him at the fight, I'm like, well, hold on. That's a duck. I qualified it by Tim Bradley saying, that's a duck. Like, and he broke it down to where it's like, me and Tim Bradley had a conversation the day before he recorded that shit. I'm like, damn, what got into Tim? But Tim had been on it. So
he been on it.
So I'm like, okay, we know that Loma duck, right? So I'm like, okay, and I had already said this. I said, man, I'm one of the biggest Shakur fans in the world. I call him the definition. Like, I've been saying this for forever. I said, hold on. I said, okay, so if Loma out the picture, now we already know it's the Cold War. It's Tank and Shakur. We already know that. It's going digital. So I'm like, all Shakur got, I said, if Shakur go over there to Eddie, if he go everywhere but over there and calling out and figuring out, just locking up like Bud and Earl did over the phone saying, how can we get this done? I said, if he do anything but that, he's going to let me know he's ducking Tank. So as late as today, I heard people talking about, oh, well, Tank ducking Shakur. and everybody had their ass over and they skirts up, talking about he getting a Zepeda fight. I'm like, well, hold on. So you trying to tell me that your co-signing, if it's option A is fight the cash cow, the guy, the perceivable guy in the division, and unify, or B, defend your belt against a guy that I guess is your mandatory. Well, unifications trump mandatories at the lowest level. But then you got the cash cow and you got your time to shine to where it all lines up for you. And the narrative is Tank is ducking Shakur. I'm like, make it make sense. Like, so they'll make you point out facts to make it seem like you hate a fighter. And I hate doing that because I have to do that a lot to where it seems like I hate Bud, or I hate Shakur, or I hate Canelo. It's like I don't.
Gaslight, man.
You got to keep it relative to the point. So what the point was, this I'm gonna bring it all home. This the big point. They saying, oh man, you against having stacked cards, and you against having Zepeda and Shakur on the undercard of Beterbiev and Bivol. It's like, who the fuck would be against being able to see if it's the co-main and the main, which ideally it has to be, really. I mean, I don't know what you will put in between that. You know what I'm saying? Unless it was Canelo and Benavidez. That's about the only thing you can sandwich between that, and that wouldn't even go that way. That'll be flip-flop. But if we had to look at it in order, leading up, it could be two fights, and then Shakur and Zepeda, and then Beterbiev and Bivol. Who wouldn't sign up for that? I'm one of the biggest Bivol fans out there. Who wouldn't want to see that? Like, who wouldn't want to see Shakur with his defense and Bivol with his defense, knowing that the plus and minus, they're like right there at the creme de la creme, the top of the top as far as hit and not get hit. That's where they are. Who wouldn't want to see that? They lump that in to where it's not saying that Shakur could have had an opportunity to talk to Tank and make that fight. They're more, and some people are saying that Zepeda and Shakur deserve their own card with their own people, which I'm thinking Eureka. Because you got the little dude, what's his name? Keith Cologne from Newark. You got Keyshawn. You got all these other people to where if it was you and Zepeda on your own card, especially coming off those last two performances, that's an alley hoop because now you finally got your dance partner. You can have your own undercard. You know what they said? Oh, well, Benavidez fought on Tank's undercard, and then Tank said he will fight under Benavidez undercard. I'm like, this is what they do. They mind fuck you to where you think and you can't separate the two. No, We love stacked cards. We would love to see a Bivol Beterbiev and right before that a Shakur and Zepeda. However, we know that if Shakur is trying to be the guy, the star or whatever, he can have his own card, showcase his own talent underneath, and have just as good of a card, especially if that's going to lead. If it's going to be you and Zepeda, it should be under your own shit to make the you and Tank absolutely next. But if you're going to avoid Tank just to fight Zepeda on somebody else's undercard, that's two different things. But the zombies are going to run by and say, oh, man, Tank never sent the contract. Tank never sent the contract. That's all they want to say. I'm like, you a zombie to where if I had a motherfucking hacksaw, I would just go ahead and saw off your neck and not worry about your body running around bumping into my walls. At least I can get some sleep before the next onslaught comes.
Yeah, man. Hey, hordes of zombies out here. Yeah, man. Like even with like what you were saying about his own card, that could bring out what they kept saying, the Mexican fan base and the Puerto Rican fan base and the black fan base. But no, y'all want to hide under the sand daddy, the Sandman, and let all these other fights overshadow yours. it's too much, man.
He said, "High under the sand, man."
Yeah, the Sandman. That's what I'm gonna call him, man. The Sandman.
Who, the Turk?
Yeah, the Turk.
Listen, man. Listen, if these fights can get made, if like you just like guys got to be willing to, egos got to be dropped, for real. But yo, Body, I appreciate you having me up here, man.
All right, Bob.
About, bro. You know what's up? AJ, salute.
Alrighty, brother.
You know what I'm saying? And to the body snatchers out there in the chat, man. Y'all keep doing that body work. Salute, my bro.
Salute, bro.
Salute, man. Have a good evening, man. Be safe. Yeah, man. I got mixed feelings about Big Turk, man. Big Turk, he do have a blank check, but I think Big Turk put everybody on notice to where, like, yeah, that check is blank, but you can't just spit it on what you want, and he ain't gonna be paying for no BS.
Yeah,
and
you see that now with Bud.
Yeah, even with Bud, like, and see people that like Bud and love Bud, and see, I hate to do this because it'll make it seem like I hate on Bud. I don't hate on Bud, but I know this: Turkey Al-Sheikh predicted, and Majimov is his guy, his homegrown guy. He predicted that Bud was gonna stop that man in the 8th round, and I don't care what anybody say. Anybody who watched that fight in real time. Even when you go back and you look at it, if you go back and look at it, because I watched it in real time, I didn't go back and look at it. In real time, around round 7, 8, 9, 10, that crowd, when they were looking around, everybody was quiet and looking like they was biting their fingers. They ain't know what the fuck. Everybody had a look of concern. Ain't nobody look like they was happy-go-lucky. I think when that man Sheik saw that Bud ain't get rid of that man like the 8th round, like he said, or the night, and then the 9th round came by, and he still didn't do it, and it dawned on him that he ain't gonna be able to get rid of this guy. Turkey Al-Sheikh was like, "Look, man, ain't no way I'm gonna finance him versus Canelo, bro. It just is what it is."
No, it's not even like you know.
You can say what you want about Mel. Now, Mel, and I got a new set of videos. It's called When Boxers Leave Us on Red. That's gonna be like one of the hardest series ever because these boxers, like Earl, he left us on red. Mel, he left us on red. Matias, he left us on red. Regis, he just came back. He left us on red. But like we could be rooting for them and going for them and do this, and they show up and they not themselves. They leave us on red. Whole different conversation. But
like, what the fuck happened?
Like, what the fuck? Like, talk to us like we can't, because we got to bear the grunt. We got to be the ones to where if you bold enough to go against the bullshit, because no matter if the other person win, it's almost like they got a free reign to rewrite history. And that's what I keep saying. I'm like, just because Bud won, that don't rewrite the history of what happened before that. That don't erase all that bullshit. And I'm going to stand on that. That don't mean that I hate Bud. It just means that I have recordings to where you said that fight don't matter to me. I have recordings to where you act like that fight didn't matter. And then when Errol got in that accident, you said, "Oh, Bill, you better not fight me when you get back and pull your panties out your bunch." And then when he came back, you said, "Oh, man, I ain't fighting him. That fight beyond me." Like, we're not going to act like that shit didn't really happen just because you won the fight. You won the fight. You got full credit. But a lot of these boxers are buying into that to where they can bullshit along, and then if they win, they can rewrite what happened. Like, I don't care. Like, that's not gonna go down. I'm the stake bearer when it comes to that. We're not just going, yes, you won. We're gonna applaud and grade the performance, but prior to, we're gonna keep it a buck about what was really going on before that. And it just is what it is. That don't mean we don't like you. It just means that we ain't gonna compromise and just lie because we fuck with you.
Yeah, like, I ain't gonna lie, I'm not no Bud hater either. Like, I fuck with him in some ways, but the way he handling that Shakur situation, and you know, on interviews, like, you know, trying to talk down on Al Heyman and all them, like, that's unnecessary if you ask me, because at the end of the day, bro, they the ones that put you in this position if you really think about it.
Exactly. That's and see, that's why I rock with you, because that's how I see it. I'm like, hold on. That's just like I like people be saying aerosexual, and I'm like, is it really an aerosexual, or is that just some cliche shit to where you virtue signaling and let everybody know that you down with them? But when I look at it, it's like I said earlier in the show, Earl Spence, and I'm a Eagles fan, but Earl Spence went to Dallas Cowboys Stadium and built a relationship with Jerry Jones. That take work. Name another boxer who's done that in any one of these major stadiums out here. It's the same shit I was saying that Boots needed to do out there in Philly. Now he did it at Wells Fargo. He didn't do it with the Eagles. We ain't see him go out on a coin toss with the Eagles. But that's the same shit I said he should have did with the Eagles. Earl did that shit down there with the Cowboys. So to even say that you can even rival that by numbers and naturally, you're not gonna be able to rival that because you in tune with a billionaire NFL owner. So where you can come out at halftime and you can be seen with the players. He built it up. Like I said, Earl had a belt when Bud came up. Bud came up and got a belt from Jeff Horn. It wasn't until they unified that he got another belt. So all them years went by. Earl went and got Sean, and then Earl ultimately went and got Ugas, who should have been Pacquiao. But it really should have been Thurman if Thurman would have beat Pacquiao. Bud never showed no interest in fighting nobody to get the other belt. So at the end of the day, I always ask, who really wanted undisputed? Regardless of the results, who really wanted it? You gotta say Earl wanted it more because he did more to get it. That don't take away from what Bud did at 40 and 35. Because at 47, Earl went and got 3 straps, and they treat that man like shit. That's why I always say, do belts matter or not? Because if they do, put some respect on Earl's name. Yeah, he might not have been living a boxer's lifestyle, but you gotta think, if you want to call this motherfucker a drunk, he was able to go in there and beat the shit out of Danny, put paws all over Danny in that state, and then go over there and get rocked by Ugas and put paws all over Ugas and break his shit too. Like, put some respect on his name. And then it was not until after that now Bud, because remember, Bud used to not do interviews and all that. Bud wasn't the most accessible. It wasn't until it was leading up to the Earl fight when he left him at the altar, when he went and did Breakfast Club, when he went and did Bill Bellamy. He was out paintballing. Like, he didn't do all that stuff till then. So to shit on Earl after he gave you opportunity and bent over and gave you 50-50, that's why I say a lot of these people that be talking about boxing, they don't know shit about business. Like, I don't even care if it's not boxing business or nothing, but like, just like with the shit with Sheik, you're not gonna outsource all the work, because when you outsource all the work and you give them control, they can cut you out. That's business 101.
Yep.
But
cut you straight out.
But what Bud got is a direct result of what Earl Spence was able to offer him and agree to. And at the end of the day, it was Earl that made it. But they treat him like shit. It's like, I'm not an Earl section. It's just like, man, I'm not gonna let y'all sit up here and try to bamboozle anybody that's new or coming into their own actually that don't really know, and because they want to be part of a pack to get down with that, when that's not the truth, man. You are what you are because of Earl. But y'all shit on Earl.
Of Earl Spence. There's no way around it, bro. There's no ups, downs, no. Earl Spence is the reason. Yeah, Bud probably had people that known him. Like, he did have people that known of him, but Earl Spence is the reason he got on the big stage and made Earl look like trash. But guess what? That's Earl for you. He did that for, hey, I know I ain't right in the head. This, that, and the third. Hey, I'm gonna get in that ring because this what I've been wanting. This what I said I wanted. He ain't have to do that. He could have went and fought anybody. He could have went. He pushed that what's it called? no tune-ups type shit. It don't gotta be a tune-up, Earl. You ain't gotta fight no tune-up. You could have fought I don't know if he was willing, but Keith Diamond after a certain point. Could have fought him in Dallas or Florida or whatever. Like, you could have fought him. Bud could have kept fighting like Mazemov. He been fighting them type of fighters before Earl.
That's what
Like
I'm
how you
saying.
been saying. Yeah, he been
That's what I'm
fighting
saying.
them
But when you
type of
point
fighters.
that out, you viewed as a hater. Like, it's like, no, it's not hate. This is facts, man. Like, this dude, like, when people say, oh man, people run down his resume and say it, it's like, man, listen, I have videos in real time. This is why I can stand on what I stand on. I have videos where I did it to where right before the Kell Brook fight, he said, yeah, I might not have the names or the things like that to actually catapult me to where I need to be. He was like, but I was able to achieve, such and such. And I'm like, okay, cool. So let's fast forward and see what happened after that. That was right before the Kell Brook fight. Well, we already know what was going on with Kell Brook at that point in time. So then after that, what we had Sean Porter, who we already know, like, it's data, it's information. Like, if you have like 30 minutes of time, you can actually go and research and see what was going on with Sean Porter and what happened around the time of that fight. You can understand that Sean Porter was not his same self, and he was semi-retired. And the factors around that, well, after Sean Porter, he got Albanesian, who he left Earl at the altar, adding on to his inactivity. And then you got Earl, who was going to, no matter what, get his ass in the ring. Why? Because he just missed out on the Pacquiao fight.
Yep. Just missed it on the Pacquiao.
He just missed out. So it's like Earl was going, man, he just told you he was going to go in there with Pacquiao with one eye. If they would have cleared him, that nigga was going to get in there with Pacquiao with one eye to get that bag. I'm like, but we gonna just deny that and say it was all Bud and everybody was ducking them because they still want to run with that. And I'm like, man, I don't even get triggered by it no more. I just be like, yeah, that's just some dumbass person that just want to either they remedial, they rode the short bus, or they just know that it triggers people or it gets people pissed off because it's like you make people take away from your legacy when you have to remind them of the truth. It's like if you didn't deny it. Like, I seen an interview with Steven So Cold today, and I'm like, man, this dude is brutally honest. I'm like, if every boxer was like that, it is what it is, and everybody would be loved and appreciated because you know what you want to get. That's how I try to be. But we're not going to sit up here and try to act like that everything Bud was doing. It's like, man, you can look back, and when T.O., as much as he be trolling, as much as I want Bud now, because I used to rock with T.O., as much as I want Bud to beat T.O. to sleep, I wish he would take T.O. up on it off just so we can knock some sense into him. Either him or Keyshawn. But as much as I hate T.O., T.O. was right when he say Bud got an asterisk, man. He got an asterisk. It's real. That don't take away from what Bud is able to do and how in the heat of the moment he is the closer. If you get in there, he get you hurt, he gonna close you. If you ain't got nothing for him, he gonna close you. That's a fact. But don't act like you were not selective in your hunting. Don't act like you didn't have you didn't have to meet a certain criteria because it was time where he said, no, I ain't gonna fight that person, or no, I ain't gonna do that. He just said he wasn't gonna fight Garcia or Danny, so we would never see it. So what are we talking about? But you was quick to fight Fundora, who got his belt the same way that Boots did.
The same.
They got their belt the same way. They both were email champs. So what are we talking about?
Hey, Boots was first.
And Boots was first. And Boots had a better record and a higher knockout ratio. Zoo was just the son of a legend in a higher division. But you didn't want that. And then when it was supposed to be Jamel Charlo next, after you went and seen what he did at 68, which had nothing to do with him being the man at 54, because they trying to shit on Mel like he ain't that guy. I'm about to go off about that like all next week. I'm probably about to do a male marathon, even though I didn't like that shit that he did up there at 68. But you cannot deny that Mel was still the man at 54. But all the fans said it was cool because he lost to Canelo at 68. Now you ain't gotta see him. There's no questions asked. Oh no, I don't want to do that. Why? Mel got the best claim at 54 than anybody.
Man, it's getting bad, man. It's getting bad. Like, what's that term you used? Banners or no? What's that term you use, Mike? When people click, jumping in clicks and all that. It's a word you used. I forgot what the hell you was saying. But basically, that side of the street shit, as much as people like, it's an old term now, but that shit is true because it seems almost as though it don't matter how much a real of a boxer you is or a YouTuber or whatever. Not including you, but it seems like you gotta pick a side because the way that Andre Ward go about like speaking about Bud on interviews, it's like he know the shit he be saying is bullshit and he talk two sides out his neck, but it's like he gotta stand with Bud because that's who he with.
He did the same shit with Shakur.
Yup, that's they in that clique, bro. And
like because like they had Andre Berto on there. They had Andre Berto and they had Darrell. And Darrell, he was trying to, but then I was like, because I was looking for, after I seen the documentary with Ward, I was like, oh man, his show gonna be lit. If it's in the vein of his documentary, when you look at the documentary and you know how he was, I like it'd be lit if he just stick to the truth and he just use who he is to make sure that what need to get put across. He doing the same thing for selfish reasons. I'm like, man, if you walk away from that interview thinking that Andre Berto said any motherfucking thing wrong to Shakur, you are wrong, man. You are wrong, man. They tried to guilt trip Andre Berto into thinking that he did something wrong. Like Andre Berto handled it. He went way longer than me. First of all, I would have just cut him off and just at some point I said,
it looked like he wanted to walk
out. I got to ignore the little nigga. But I was like, man, like I don't agree with that, and I expected way more from Andre Ward, man. I expected way more, man. I was like, especially after seeing the documentary, I was like, I didn't know, but even after seeing the documentary, I was like, okay, cool. I still think Kovalev won the first one. I've been saying that I watched that fight so many times. Every year I go back and watch that fight. I'm like, I still don't see how Kovalev didn't win that first one. And that was just politics. And I like Andre Ward, like I do. But when I see him in the position that he is with that whole Bud, like, cause now it's to the point to where all I do is I kick him in the shins whenever I can because I already know what it is. It's like I can tell when somebody is part of the Bud, Shakur, which also has inherited until Devin come back. We've inherited all those Devin fans. So really, they're really like the Shakur fans are really Devin fans in disguise and Bud fans in disguise. Did you know that? AJ? Yeah. Like so, a lot of them just like, you know what I'm saying? Like so, a lot of them that was like Earl Spence fans, they like jumped on the boots. It's like, no, it's like, I didn't just jump on. I've been respecting the young dude, but I didn't like jump a whole bandwagon. I'm still going to talk about him in a respectful way and promote him the way I need to promote him and speak on him like the way I need to speak on him. You know, but I don't consider myself as jumping a bandwagon. Like a lot of these guys, like Devin Haney fans, they are straight Shakur fans. Like all these surplus Shakur fans talking all this bullshit, those are Devin Haney fans. All these Bud fans, those are Devin Haney fans. Like they're one and the same. Like to where, cause their talking points, their arguments, like the resume shit, they're one and the same. Why? Because when you break down Devin Haney's resume, like people get offended at me when I say he made world history because they be saying he made world history about Undisputed. I say he did in a whole nother sense. He's the only guy in history to have fought one time and get undisputed. And people be like, "Oh man, you outrageous." Okay,
How?
hey, name the fight, because when Lomachenko got elevated, he got a belt. All he did was then fight one fight against Kambosos, and he was undisputed. That's the first time some shit like that ever happened in history. But they put him over somebody like Jermell Charlo, who went and got him all, and they put him over somebody like Errol Spence, who went and got 3 straps in that era amongst those champions. And I'm like, y'all don't know shit. You don't know shit about boxing.
A big ass Kell Brook, bro. A big ass Kell Brook. That's one of the fights that Earl, like I told you, Earl, Wilder, and Tank, they got me into the box. Like,
yep.
He didn't wait and celebrate when another man lost. He didn't even celebrate when Sean lost.
Right. He just said, man, he shouldn't have wore that. He said he shouldn't have wore that war shit, and he left because he expected more out of Sean Porter, and we know that Sean Porter gave up. I got a video with Kenny Porter on there, and people will say I'm hating, but I'm like, how am I hating if I can play Kenny Porter's voice? Like, he said, he told the dude in an interview, he said, man, I'd have told you, buy the fight, but don't bet. Like, genius, do I gotta spell it out for you? What that mean?
Come on now.
It was a payday out the door. And to preserve your faculty, because Kenny Porter knew if Bud would have went upside his head with that Kung Pao chicken, if we'd have put that extra piece, you know what I'm saying? You know how you get hit with a 2-piece? It's different when you get hit with a straight 2-piece of Bing Pow, you know what I'm saying? But when you get hit with a 3-piece and a biscuit, you know what I'm saying? That's like whatever podcasting career that could have been, because you was already in the groove. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a hater.
And then look, I gotta point out, I'm sorry, bro. I'm not no Bud hater like you said, but this what gave it away. When he was in the corner, and don't get me wrong, they watched a lot of Tank and Earl Spence. They soon as I'm down on cards. What? I'm down on the cards. All right. Next round, he knocked him down and on the interview, and his homeboy, I mean not interview, his podcast, his homeboy that be on there, he was like, yeah, that when Bud said he was down on the cards and he came out that next round and knocked you down, like he was like, yeah, that was good. He was like, yeah, that was good for him. It was basically in the script, bro. That shit was playing boogie. You heard me.
Hey,
they already knew that man was on his way out.
And guess what? This is something else you probably didn't see that I'm gonna go back. Now, I have it in my own videos, but I'm gonna go back and do a special segment on this. This is another aspect of that. You know, Tank sparred Sean Porter going into the Bud fight. You know that, right?
Which one? What it is?
Did you know that Tank sparred Sean Porter going into the Bud fight?
Oh yeah.
It's in my deep down. I was not a fly on the wall or anything like that. But deep down, and I think Tank put hands and feet on that nigga going into that fight.
I did too, bro.
And that was the first time. That was the first time to where he said, because think about it. Now, somebody had to go back and do the groundwork and the lay work. But again, that was the first time that Kenny Porter actually said that him and Sean Porter discussed what would happen throwing in the towel. I'm like, that's pretty peculiar. Like, normally when you're working with somebody, if I decide I'm going to get in the boxing coach and I start boxing somebody's like, hey son, if I ever smell blood, you know what I'm saying, I'm a Mark Brilliant, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna give you live to fight another day, you know what I'm saying, like you gonna still have something left in the basement that you can get off. Y'all ain't gonna let you go out like that. You know you know what I'm saying, I love you like my son. Like, so I believe, because if you think about it, ever since then, this nigga Sean Porter ain't had shit good to say about Tank. Can't nobody stop me. Can't nobody prove me wrong. But after that sparring session, going in there in preparation for Bud, where they said that was the first time Kenny Porter and Sean Porter ever talked about throwing in the towel. That was the first time Sean Porter said that he said he wasn't going to do something that his father had ordered him to do as his trainer. He said that was the first time. That fight went to the midnight hour, getting ready to go to purse bread, like right before midnight. That shit, they finally settled on an agreement before, because at midnight they was going to have to go to purse bid. And before that, Bud and Sean was saying they didn't want to fight because they were best friends. They said they had already talked about it and said that, well, if the money was right and this was and that, and they wasn't going to do it. And then Bud had it made it seem like it was some ordeal because Sean was making it seem like he had to fight. And they came out with that narrative that Sean Porter was basically being Errol Spence' bodyguard. They had already mapped out all of that shit. But that's just one fight with Sean Porter.
Yeah, that was one fight, bro.
That was one fight. That don't mention the Carol Brook, who had his orbital bone broke by Triple G. The other one by Errol Spence, and he had the belt around his waist. And everybody know that when you got the belt around your waist, you're going to give a more of a valiant effort than when you was former. They want to overskip all of that and just deduct that you just a Bud hater. I'm like, well, if that's what you want to deduct, that's what you're going to deduct. But channels like mine, who probably not going to be like the loudest beacon, the brightest light, you know, in the drawer, they're going to keep putting these stakes in the ground and keep saying what was really going on. And that leads me to what we got right now, man, as far as this welterweight division. Like, Boots is the next guy in line. He's in a tricky spot because he has to move in a way and be very deliberate in what he's doing. He can't be pussyfooting around, because if you look at all my videos, I had said something about, did they age Jamal Charlo out? The age out game is very live and it's very real. They will age you out. They will time you out. They will use politics to avoid you getting fights, and then timing to where somebody will catch you because they're keeping tabs on you, and they will take you out. Or they will push you to the edge of stress as a boxer, and you'll be out of the game. So even though you may have never lost inside of the ring, they can age you out to where you be on the decline or at a disadvantage, to where you be at the mercy of taking some shit that you don't need to take. And we in a sport where one punch, one miscalculation of an inch in a step, in a guard, in a punch, is over.
Yeah, that's where Earl fucked up, man. He believed the fans when they were saying that both guys want this fight. Both guys really want this fight. No, both guys never wanted to fight, bro. One guy wanted to age you out and wait on you. That's why he held on to that belt, fighting mandatory at the mandatory. It was a strategic plot against Errol Spence.
Yep, it was, man. And people can claim Errol stepped through and do this and this and that, but like, if you, in your heart of hearts, if you feel like you're a boxing fan, go back and do the research. Even if you don't want to do the research, I've already done it. That's why I say I've already done the research. I talk about the shit in real time. If you go back down my timeline, you look at my videos, I already put it all the way out there. All you gotta do is look for the video.
We know that, Mike.
You know what I'm saying? Now. But a lot of people want to run because they want to be popular. They want to be down like Brandy. You know what I'm saying? And the limelight, they might not have ever ran in a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? In a real live game. They might not ever hit a three-pointer in a real live game. They might not have jumped out of a plane or a helicopter or rode on a jet ski. So online is where they can get that off. But somebody has already done the research. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Somebody has
man.
already put down a timeline to actually show you there are no biases. You know what I'm saying? But this is how we landed where we at right now, and where the welterweight division was a glamorous division. I still think it is. I just think that the complexion of it right here with D Block, it's a rough, rugged division, man.
That's what I'm saying. Why Virgil had to move up, man?
His body, man. Because
Virgil
like 5'11", man, and for him to be Mexican, he got some big ass legs, man. Like,
oh yeah,
you look at his father is solid. So, I mean,
yeah, that's not no racist shit, but you know, Mexicans, they carry that type of weight anyway.
Yeah, like, but he 5'11". Like, you don't really see, you know, it's rare. Like,
yeah,
Mexicans, they ain't really like 5'11". Like Virgil, he might be taller than me. He 5'10", 5'11", because Bodywork like 6 feet. Like, he like my height. He like 5. I'm 5'10". They saying he like 5'11". And then when you look at him, even though he look kind of slender, he got solid legs. Like, his legs are solid.
Yeah, cause I still want to see that fight. I don't give a fuck, man. I think that could have been built. Like, still can be being built. It's just that again, Boots listening to the fans. He thinking that Bud wants that fight. He chasing Bud. Stop chasing him. That man is he on another mission, man. He don't want that fight right now. It's best to just find your own path. Like, go after Virgil or something. I don't know. I just know Bud. It's like the people that's not trying to make the fight and just trying to be sane in front of the celebrities and shit. They just need to be set aside or something. Like the Shakurs and all of them. They just set them aside in a different category because they keep lying.
You can't. You see. Listen, AJ. I hate to break it to you, man, but I'm be one of the people that say, "Hey, you got a booger in your nose, man." Because I love when people do it to me. The sad part of it is, like I just said, everybody wants to be down. So even though it's like when you show up to the barbecue, man, and you see the chicken, man, you see the chicken wing. And you know what I'm saying? You already know when your eyes first look at it, like, man, that chicken ain't done. That chicken ain't done, but don't nobody want to say nothing.
Right, yeah, nobody. Right,
you know what I'm saying? It's
right
like,
man, like grill is right there.
Yeah, because they look. It's my party. I sponsored it. Like, we got free drinks, we got a bar, we got a DJ. It's like, but bro, I mean. Oh, that's good. The chicken ain't done though. Or
them ribs burnt to like.
Yeah, the rib, like, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody gonna be the one to be able to be like, you know what I'm saying? Cause that's not what's it. Like, you still want to be able to come back to the party, nigga. Don't say shit about you know what I'm saying, the watered down drinks. Yeah, don't say shit about, you know what I'm saying, the chicken not being done. Don't say shit about the ribs being burnt. Don't say shit about it. Ain't no parking, right? I had to walk. I'm sweaty. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's where we at, AJ.
Yeah, that's exactly where we at, bro. It's sad, bro.
You know, nobody want to be, because this gonna seem like, it's like, man, come on, dog. Like, you know this potato salad ain't right.
Come on, man. You put that out like you bold.
Like, man. It is what it is. It's like, if you say something, then this will be the last time we get some fucked up potato salad. Because if everybody at the party know that this is not how you do potato salad, and we're gonna do this shit again next year, ain't gonna be no bad potato salad next year.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely we'll fix the sport. But everybody, they want to be so popular. Like, Ward, he don't want to offend Bud. Bud don't want to offend Shakur. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can shit on Tank because that's the popular thing to do, but they don't want to give. Don't might want to give him props, because then it seems like you're going against Devin.
Yeah.
It's just some bullshit.
Yeah, like Sean, he vicious, and I ain't gonna lie, a lot of it got to do with him hanging out with Paulie Malignaggi, because believe it or not, Paulie, and I ain't want to say it at first, but I think I don't like it's another word for it, but Paulie is some type of like racist or something.
Yeah, Paulie.
He's some type of race. Like even on his show, one of his shows, he said something about they were talking about the amateurs and shit, right? So he said he was like because the Eastern that's what he used terms. He said the Eastern he said the Westerners don't like to fight a lot of amateur fights. And Sean was like, what? He's like, I got 200 or something. They would talk about like Lomachenko and all them, like his people. He was like, the Westerners really don't like to fight a lot of fights and and the amateurs. Sean was like, no, that's not true, bro. Even if you think about Tank got over 250 something. What's his name? I don't think Devin got that, but Shaw is a whole silver medal. Like, what is he talking about? But he races like, so when he be hanging with him, he get a lot of them talking points talking about Tank wasn't never around when Loma was around. Loma was never around. Loma was no big draw or nothing. He was just
exactly
up on little niggas.
Like, man, that shit they did with that. I'm like, you can't have it both ways, bro. You can't have it, because it's funny how they understand it where, like, when Bob was in charge, they understand it, right? When, like, depending on what boxer it is. But then to say that Floyd was in charge, because they love to say, oh man, Floyd even threatened him to give him love. It's like, Floyd still had the ego of being that guy. And then you get another guy who you are on record saying, is he the future of boxing? Absolutely. You're on record of saying that, but then you're on record of also saying, you keep it up, I'm gonna do this with Loma. Like, that's just a blunder at being like, that's just like a young supervisor. Somebody that's like 19, 20 years old to get a position as a supervisor. It's like, you gonna make some mistakes at first because you ain't never had access to that power. I did it when I was in the military. Like, you don't do it until you really kind of realize, like, hold on, man. Like, if I want to stay in this position, I gotta be able to use discernment. I gotta be able to judge. So they use that to say that all that time Tank was ducking Loma. And then when you look at it, you like, hold on, that can't be the same. Especially when y'all blame Tank for moving people up, but then don't blame Loma for moving people up. But Tank is at the mercy of having ducked somebody who he wasn't the A side over. Like, because when you're the A side, especially at that point in time, Loma would have been the A side. So it would have been Loma's responsibility to send an offer and for Tank to reject or refuse or do none of that. Nobody ever get into that. They just like to say that, oh yeah, Tank ducked him for 7 years. I'm like, well, to my understanding, I think it's only been like, since 2022 to where he was officially, I don't even know if that's right. It might have been 2023. I don't know. I'm thinking it's 2022 was when Tank was really out from under that Mayweather umbrella, and you've seen what he's been able to do since he's been out of it. He's been seeking the smoke. He set the Ryan Garcia and he set him and Ryan Garcia off, which gave us Bud and Spence, and then he doubled back around and then got Frank out the way after doing a bid. It's like, if I look at his first couple joints, like while he on his own, he doing all right. Like, he's stepping it up. Then you see where he was in talks with Loma, they was going back and forth, was all good. Then all of a sudden Loma ducked him. And now you're going to go see that Shakur then found some interest because of Turkey and he going to go fight Zepeda. I'm like, what choice? So, but it's all on Tank though. It's still all on Tank. That be the default. It's Tank fault. It's his team fault. It's this. I'm like, yeah, so it don't even really trigger me. I just kick motherfuckers in the nuts whenever they talk that bullshit and keep it moving. I don't even get offended no more. It is what it is. So, listen, we talked about a lot of things, man. And the biggest point of this show is that the welterweight division is no longer the glamour division. Even though I think that it has all of the potential to garner all of the money, it's all about what these guys really want in their heart of hearts. I know that Imad Stanionis, he takes and embodies the starving artist. Jerombo's Ennis, he's in purgatory right now because it's barbecue or mildew for him. And because of the shadows that he's been living in, people won't fully give him his credit as being the next guy up. And he has all the potentials. The only thing that Boots needs to do is walk it out. Brian Norman Jr., he from the A, got a lot to prove. His father say he's pretty much a boxing nerd. He's a gym rat. His father was a fighter, so he can coach it. He said he's going to go steamroll it. And Mario Barrios, regardless what you want to say about him, his war with Tank, you know, what he was able to do with Barrios, even his quest for Pacquiao. Irregardless, the man has a resume, he's experienced, and there are no easy outs right here at 147. This is D block. This is going to be the hard knock life. This is going to be where you're going to have to walk down one of them alleys, man. And all you're going to have is a carpenter's knife and a flashlight. And you're going to have to get on to the other side. Will you make it? I'm not sure. Who will stand tall and reign supreme? I'm not sure. I like Brian Norman Jr. You know, I'm a big fan of Stan Giannis. I wish that he would have got that Virgil Ortiz fight. And I also respect Boots, and I admire what he brings to the table. Gotta respect Mario Barrios because he is El Azteca, the Mexican warrior. So,
yeah, I respect all
Aztec
of them
warrior.
too, bro.
Huh?
No, I was saying, like, yeah, you gotta respect them at the end of the day, like, cause you know these are the guys you gonna be watching. You know what I mean? These are, and we get to say if we paying for it or not. That's all we was trying to tell Shakur. Like, hey, ain't nothing wrong with hitting and not get hit, brother. We not saying that, brother. And he know that. He just didn't want to get embarrassed like that in front of all the world. That's why I was trying to tell people. That's why he was tweeting like that, because he was embarrassed. Because you know, they want to be perfect in front of everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. I was just saying, look, you can't get on camera and say, "Oh man, he hit hard." Like, oh man, like I'm like, they don't want to hear that shit, man.
That's a bad
like,
look, bro. That's a bad look. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, like you can't get up there and say that because just like when they asked Tank and they said, man, at the cruise, he's like, you want to meet rematch? He was like, hell no, like, because it caught him in the heat of the moment, and they took that shit and ran with it, and like they gonna never let that man live that down. Now understanding that man was talking about surviving Pitbull at that time with a hurt hand and being one-handed, like, and then him being a last-minute replacement, meaning that wasn't the guy he was training for. They give him no grace, no whatever. But I always understand the standard is higher for Tank, because if he don't knock you out or stop you, he lost. Like up until he do that Everybody see that he lost. They don't appreciate the boxing skill. And I kind of think it works to his advantage because they always talk about, oh man, he got the equalizer. It's like, no, he got a little bit more than the equalizer. But y'all keep believing that, and that's what works for him. It just, he's not gonna get the credit. He's not gonna get the credit until he hang it up. You know, when it come down to Tank. You know, I just think I hope these guys understand that, yeah, it's a business, but there's some bare essentials that's needed to maintain a business or be profitable in business. Because I hate to keep going back to this, Bud showed us and told us, especially when you look back at that interview about what he said what happened between him and Earl when they talked. And he said that he told Earl, he was like, look, man, I got these guys, I got these investors. They're going to invest this money. Let's both get our 25 million guaranteed. He said we'll go away, and if something happened, then we'll get such and such from the back end. But if not, he was like, who matters? He's like, man, fire sticks are out. People got fire sticks. I'm like, so that, like, if you're not really paying attention to business, you don't really understand what's going on, and you just liking him as a fighter is one thing. That's subjugated to what happens inside the ring, which is what my focus is on. But since we're talking about things outside of the ring, you have to consider the mindset of a person. And what he basically said was, look, man, people got fire sticks, man. We're not gonna sell this shit on pay-per-view like that. Which Bud was semi-prophetic, because people build that as a fight as the next big thing since Mayweather-Pacquiao. But when you look at the numbers, they didn't compare really to Mayweather-Pacquiao. But it was still a big fight, and you got to understand with the fire stick era. Only Bud was saying, listen, man, people got their fire sticks. You get your 25 million guarantee, I get my 25 million guarantee, and they get their money back, then we'll get something on the back end. If not, we both got our 25 guarantee. And that's some G shit. That is some G shit. Which you gotta respect Bud. Like, that's some G shit. But then you also have to understand the mindset of a person who thinks like that. Because the other individual was not used to getting that up front and then relying on what was on the back end, even though the back end might not have worked for other people who took that same gamble. But when you have a certain fan base and you have a stadium that you can fill, and you've experienced getting this on the front end and then reaping that on the back end, you're talking business concept versus business concept. And in the arena of the 147-pound division, Earl Spence Jr. at the time before the defeat was the big fish. We can act like we don't understand that because of the verdict after the fight. But if you can look at a guy like Earl Spence and you can shit on him and you can say he wasn't nothing and he didn't do this and he was a drunk and he was blah, 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 and he was blah, 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 just understand this. Earl Spence Jr. was able to go get 3 straps at 147 pounds. He ran into who everybody undoubtedly called number 1 pound for pound, Bud Crawford. If not, they give it to Usyk, which is a heavyweight, which I don't even consider in the pound for pound, even though I acknowledge his number 1 pound for pound type skill. Bud Crawford is number 1 pound for pound. Errol Spence with 3 straps lost to him. And he was the guy that had the numbers behind him that warrant sales and pay-per-views and this and that. Why? They had already been successful. And that's why people can say, along with the history of the 147-pound division, that it was the Glamorous division. It's no longer that. Why? Because when people look up and they see these guys, Boots, Stan Giannis, Brown Number Jr., and Barrio, they don't look at them like paydays. They look at them like tough ways out. I'm just being real with you. But we had a great show. You know, this is D Block. This is no longer the Glamour division. This is something that is going to go down to where this is going to be it's going to be a rough, rugged, tumble type division going forward. And I just want to put my 2 cents on it, my signature on it, and talk about it and let everybody know what's really going on at 47 now. I think the crown is with Boots, but they got to wrap it all up and get undisputed. He's on his way, but we'll see. Anyways, thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga, right? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to